IEDC.com. Kendall Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIPC.
I told you.
That's how we're starting today on a Friday.
I told you.
I told you so. Didn't take long either, did it?
I'm loath to brag on myself or my keen intellect when it comes to sizing up how dirty and rotten our government is. But in this case, I mean, if I'm not going to brag on myself, who's going to do it?
Right. I'll do it for you a little.
I said definitively this is going to happen, and it's playing out, and we're like 3 days into it.
Okay, so what are you bragging about exactly?
I should probably point that out, shouldn't I? So as you recall, earlier this week, Braun, the governor, by the way, we've got to talk about this sticker that a listener sent us.
Yeah, we will.
Letting his displeasure about Mr. Braun and his sidekick be known. Braun made some big hullabaloo that he was firing everyone, or I don't know if fire is the right word, removing or replacing or whatever.
Yeah.
All the members of the IEDC, all 9 members of the board. And they had this big press release and the big announcement and then the big first meeting and the blah, blah, blah. And I had said at the time, I said, it doesn't matter who he puts on that board. The system itself is a disease. The whole organization, the idea of the thing itself is the problem. And there's no way when you looked at that list, one would believe anything is going to be any different because it's just a new batch of mostly the same uber connected, uber wealthy, either government or business or lobbyist type people who exist and make money because the system works in a certain way. And in the case of these people that he appointed, like, I mean, again, like John Gregg, really? He ran for governor twice and lost. Twice. Not once, but twice. The public told him, your services are not required. We've heard your ideas. They stink. Out.
He's the one who came out and said that he was instructed that the IEDC, the new and improved IEDC board, was going to be much more transparent.
Yeah. They're going to maybe let you know a little bit more about how they're screwing you over. Now, so we said, look, you should not believe that anything is going to change because there's new people. And then it comes out yesterday in a variety of news organizations on how much money the new IEDC has given to Mike Braun.
Yeah.
What is it, $260?
$260,000.
Kayla Dwyer from Indy Star, amongst others, reported this. And so I'm not great at math, so I'm going to pull out this handy-dandy cellular telephone that's in front of me, and I'm going to take $260,000, and I'm going to divide that by 9, and that would come out to $28.8 thousand per person average. Now, does that mean every person gave $28.8 thousand? No, of course not. But some gave more, some gave a little less. I don't know. I haven't done the deep dive on this. Maybe some gave none at all. That's a heck of a lot of money for people to just magically end up in a position of power, of immense power. And what did they do right out of the gate? They approved not 1,
not 2,
not 3,
4 new data centers.
That was their first action of let's show you how different this is. Hey, let's show you about how we're about doing something different. No, what'd they do? They gave away millions and millions of dollars of your money and incentives to these data centers, which we know from all the news reports. We've been telling you this for years on this program. But you know now the amount of, first of all, the lack of jobs they create, the amount of power that they use, which is because we're running out of power because of all the power they use, causing your utility bills to skyrocket.
Causing the governor to create a task force to figure it out. We created the problem, and now we're going to solve the problem.
And this is what they do right out of the gate. Look at us. Look at how different we are. And then they do the exact same thing that made everybody mad about the old system.
Yeah. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. It's, they're just putting these powerful people on the board, and they're doing it with campaign donors, and it does give off just a little scent of insider politics dressed up as reform.
And the transparency of the meetings mean nothing because that's window dressing. Those 9 people are going to know what they do before they go out there. This is not going to be some robust Mr. Smith goes to Washington style speeches and debates. The transparency is going to rest in if you're willing to make the IEDC exactly like other government agencies on how we get information on what deals are being done, how money's being spent, and tracking and enforcing when these companies don't live up to the deals. I mean, you're looking at some of these data centers, what is it, 50 jobs? That's it?
Yeah.
So they did $1 billion building. Who cares? With all the tax incentives you've given them, it means nothing.
So Governor Braun is arguing that he chose these people because he knows them and respects them, not because they donated, but because they share his vision.
So it's just a coincidence. And is there a $200 donor on the list? Is there somebody who gave $25? It's just a coincidence. It's all the big money donors that he knows and respects. What about the people who didn't give money? You don't know any people who didn't give you money?
He knows you.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why I said it. And I know people kind of laughed at the beginning. I'm serious, absolutely serious. If you wanted to create actual transparency for the IEDC, you would create a what do you call it, a mini committee or board or whatever of taxpayers.
Yeah.
And their job would be to report back to the public after every meeting and every deal, here are the details on exactly where your money went and exactly what we spent it on, and here's how it affects the taxpayer. You notice you never get what the return is for the taxpayer on any of this stuff?
Well, that's because they keep moving it.
Yes.
The time frame keeps moving. They oversee billions of dollars in economic development incentives.
And I will continue to ask this question that nobody can answer for me. And I welcome any person, whether they're on the IEDC board, they work at the organization, the governor himself. We all know he doesn't have the ballular area to ever waltz back in here and do an interview with us ever again. But any of these people, and not in a gotcha fashion or anything else, in a straight data-driven answer. If all of this economic development and taking all this money from poor and middle class people and giving it to mega corporations has been so great, why have our taxes never been higher than they are right now?
Right.
If all of this has been so damn good, why are we paying more if this thing is paying off? And I would ask the lawmakers this too. I would ask Houston this. I would ask Bray this. Anybody in a position of authority. Because nobody's provided an answer on this. So
Braun says he wants the IEDC to pivot from being this large out-of-state tech deal maker.
They just approved 4 data centers, Casey!
Right. To small and mid-sized Main Street businesses.
You're talking about billion-dollar buildings!
So he says that during an interview, and they just turned around and approved these data centers. Both sides of the mouth here. He also plans to appoint additional members to the board.
Oh, it's like the Supreme Court. He didn't like the way it was, so he's going to make it bigger. Because, that's what they always push with the Supreme Court.
Right.
We got to add, 6 new members.
We need a couple more.
Right, when the system doesn't work for you. This system is designed to fail you, the taxpayer. The sooner we all come to this conclusion, which is this system as it exists right now, it doesn't matter who's on the board. It doesn't matter exactly what the directive is. The system itself is designed to fail you, the taxpayer, in the sense of the system is designed to take money from you and give it to connected people. And the decisions are being made, for the most part, by either uber wealthy or uber connected people, many of them who have given big money to the guy who appointed them to the board. All right, we have so much to get to today, Casey. We have a massive update in the Diego Morales Checkgate saga,
Right?
which we have to tell everybody about. And this Krista Carlino woman is still flapping her gums about why she can't make a decision and stick with it on whether Joe Hogsett should stay or go. She did some interview with Abdul,
Yes.
which just makes you want to stab both of your eyes out when you read in print what she said. Should we get to that next?
Yeah, it is. Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Big, beautiful bill. It's big. It's a bill. We're going to grow this economy. We're going to spend some money. But you got to spend money to make money.
Does anybody trust the government, Republicans or Democrats, to get it right and do that? But if this were Democrats pushing through another $5 trillion, we'd say, what the hell are you doing? If you don't stop the spending, we're going to run out of money.
Hammer and Nigel. Weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Are you ready to build your custom dream home? Joyner Homes is ready to make your dream come true. Over 18 years, Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield, have built hundreds of homes in central Indiana, and the best place to start is JoynerHomes.com. That's where you'll find pricing, photos of completed Joyner homes to inspire you, available home sites, and info on where you can visit their model homes, and a lot more. Be sure to check out Joyner Homes' 5-star Google reviews. Get started today at JoynerHomes.com.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
JMV here. The hot summer sales continue at Miss M's Home and Garden and Sundown Gardens, happening now. Save more when you buy more trees and shrubs. Now when you buy 2, you save 10%, 4, 20%, and get this, you buy 6 or more trees and or shrubs, and you save 30%. Also, if you need a refresh in the porch planters, annuals are 30% off. Miss M's Home and Garden, State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville, Sundown Gardens 186 and Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling? We'll find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Casey, I have a big announcement.
What's that, Rob?
We have a new, most insufferable person in all of Indiana politics and government.
Who is it?
It's this Krista Carlino from the Indianapolis City County Council.
Okay.
So just a real quick refresher. By the way, coming up next segment, we have a massive update in the Diego Morales Checkgate.
Are you sure he's not the most
saga.
It's
It's a strong competition. it's like the
they're neck and neck.
It's like a horse race,
Photo
right?
finish.
They move very quickly. We never know who's in the lead. Next segment, it may change. So she is this woman who had called. She's a Democrat on the City County Council here in Indianapolis. She had called for the mayor to resign over his horrific handling of the Thomas Carl Cook saga, and then these text messages to subordinates that came out in Indy Star, et cetera. And then She also called on Vop Osley, who's the council president, and Allie Brown, the vice president, to step down, seemingly over their handling of when Lauren Roberts, one of Thomas Carl Cook's alleged victims, which, by the way, let's point out again, not a single person, not Thomas Carl Cook, not any of his friends, not any witnesses, not Hogsett, not anybody has refuted a word those women said.
Right.
So I guess at this point we're accepting their stories, right? Do we have to keep saying alleged? I mean, at some point.
Well, I mean, they have receipts.
Right. So because of their handling of when she got up, Lauren Roberts, one of the women, got up to speak at the city county council meeting, and because Osley cut her off and then had the deputy sheriffs forcibly remove her and her friends from the meeting.
Yeah.
And everybody heard this woman give this a couple weeks late, but we said, okay, well, welcome to the party, pal, but at least you're here. Great. Because Joe Hogsett is a dirty, rotten individual who's run this city into the ground. And even if he hadn't been involved in this Thomas Carl Cook saga, calling on him to resign based on the damage he's done to this city should just be like standard operating procedure.
It should go back to 2020.
Well, right. Or even before that, the egregious nature of how he condemned the police merit board after I think it was the Aaron Bailey shooting. And I'm just a litany of stuff with this guy. Then, so she gets a standing ovation, and then it comes out, Abdul and other people reported, other media outlets reported, hey, she's been kicked out of the Democrat caucus. And we're like, what a petty bunch of underhanded, rotten individuals that because this woman spoke out against the mayor, Don Corley Hogsett, as I guess we'll call him. I mean, Hogsett is the black hand from The Godfather at this point. I mean, you realize the city of Indianapolis is just a mafia empire, and he's at the tippy top of the thing, the way they're operating.
Hart confirmed that.
And Michael Paul Hart, very quiet leader of the Republicans on the city county council, who confirmed yesterday with Tony that the reason the Republicans won't stand up is they're worried they'll lose stuff if they call for Hogsett to resign. So people are like, this poor lady, she just simply said the obvious. They've kicked her out of the caucus. Then she comes out, Krista Carlino goes, I'm sorry for all the things that I said. And then the Democrats are like, no, she's still in the caucus.
Right.
And everybody, are we all being gaslit? What is going on here? Was she or was she not? Because so many separate media outlets who all had different sources, including Abdul. Abdul claimed he had 3 people who were in the meeting who told him this. Yeah. Said she was kicked out. And then the Democrat caucus got all squirrely on their wording, and they kept saying she's in the caucus. Now the question is, did you kick her out? So she's totally backtracked, Krista Carlino. The Democrats are clearly fibbing to us about what's going on. And then this Krista Carlino does an interview yesterday with Abdul about the whole thing.
She said she was given a 24-hour ultimatum.
Yes, her direct quote is, and you can read the whole thing, I believe there's audio with it as well at indypolitics.org. I was given a 24-hour ultimatum, issue a public apology, or the vote to eliminate me from the caucus would stand. So they did.
Yeah.
And instead of, and this is why I've said the most honest person in our city government is the socialist Jesse Brown. Instead of standing your ground like Jesse Brown, whether we agree with his politics or not, we clearly don't on much of it. But that guy time and again has said, here's who I am, here's what I believe, here's how I believe our government should work, and if you don't like it, I don't care. And then they kicked him out of the caucus, and he said, well, smooch both of my butt cheeks, it doesn't matter to me. I don't work for you, I work for my constituents. She gives in. She doesn't just say, that was incredibly disheartening, especially considering I was then publicly degraded by my vice president of the caucus the very next day. Lady, you are in charge of yourself. You were not elected to be a bigwig in the Democrat caucus. You were elected to serve your constituents and speak to and vote for what is best for the city.
That's right.
And what she's admitting here, trying to play the victim, is that being accepted in that club, and this is the key thing I'm about to say, because this is true in the Indianapolis city government. It's true down the street from us at 200 West Washington Street. It is probably true in the community you live. Being accepted in that club of elitists is all that matters.
Yeah, it's more important than representing the people that voted for him.
That's right. Her being allowed to be in that little group of losers, which look at who it is and how they run the city, what else would you call them, mattered far more to her than the Lauren Roberts story, Eller, any of these other women, the egregious way Joe Hogsett handled Thomas Carl Cook's behavior, the way Hogsett has run the city, totally inappropriate messages Hogsett was sending to subordinates, Hogsett's clear inability to manage his personal life, and the issues that he has, most allegedly related to drinking and how they have made him ineffective at his job. Simply being in that caucus mattered to this woman more than standing up for what was right.
Well, think about this. She spoke her mind. She said, this is awful. These people should resign. And they told her, you know what? You're not allowed to say that. And unless you apologize, we are going to boot you out. So she turned around and apologized because she wanted to be back in.
Yeah, then she goes on to say, that's why I ran for office, to work for people, not to be an Instagram political influencer or whatever I was accused of being. Lady, you were working for the people when you did the right thing.
And then she turned and worked for herself. She said, I didn't apologize for calling for the mayor's resignation. I apologized for the process, not the substance. What? The process? You mean saying in public that you think Hogsett should resign?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, like, I read this, and you and I were texting about this last night. I just feel like I'm being completely gaslit by this, that I read this, and I'm like, am I on candid camera? Or people are like, now say this and see how Rob responds to that. That is the most bizarre word salad nonsense I've ever heard.
So she's trying to say both things. Like, she still thinks that the mayor should resign, but she's apologizing for the way she called for that resignation. Trying to make it easy for the caucus to keep her there. Like, she still believes he should resign, but they told her that she had to issue this apology if she wanted to stay.
Yeah. I mean, we are so screwed as a society. I mean, we are so screwed that these gutless, spineless weasels like this woman, and they're everywhere.
So many people trying to thread the needle.
Yeah. By the way, I love our audience. Michael in the YouTube chat. Rob, the black hand guy, was Don Fanucci.
Oh.
See?
Yeah.
That's why the Kendall and Casey show audience is great.
They do our research for us.
We're talking about how society's going down the drain, and old Michael, he's like, hey, you're going to need to know Black Hand's name. That'll make the show better. Thank you, Michael.
You need this.
All right, so we have a massive update in the Diego Morales Checkgate saga.
Yeah.
It's going about exactly as we thought it was going to go.
Going exactly how we thought it would go. It's almost like we predicted it.
Yeah. All right. We'll update on Diego and whether he's going to show the check, what he'll show.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. That's on the way from 93 WIBC.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024
Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP 105-195. Nautilus MSRP 60-195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The status of the big, beautiful bill. It's sunny, 82 in downtown Indianapolis, feels like 90. Your high today is 92. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:30. The Senate is continuing to work on President Trump's so-called big, beautiful budget bill ahead of the GOP's self-imposed 4th of July deadline. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent telling Fox Business's Mornings with Maria he's still confident lawmakers will be able to come to some sort of agreement.
This is a tremendous bill, and I am confident that everyone working together, Leader Thune, Speaker Johnson, with President Trump's assistants have been able to move narrow majorities forward, and I think we're going to be able to bring this home. The president will be signing the bill on July 4th.
Democrats have criticized the bill, saying it would slash services like food stamps and Medicaid. President Trump also saying that the U.S. and China have signed a new trade agreement this week, but the administration has not provided yet very many details about what the two sides actually agreed to. Secretary Bessent added that the sides have agreed to lower certain tariffs on each other and for rare earth minerals from China to start flowing back into the U.S. Israel's war against Iran's nuclear program appears to be over for the moment after a ceasefire went into effect several days ago. Speaking in defense of their operation, Israel Defense Forces spokesperson Effie Defrin says Iran was seeking the death of Israel.
They were enriching uranium on a broad scale and had enough fissile material for several nuclear bombs that they could assemble in a short period of time.
Iran claims their nuclear program is for civilian use only. Iranian leaders are debating how much damage was done to their nuclear program by U.S. and Israeli strikes. Now your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow is up 122 points, 43,386. The S&P 500 up a little bit, 11 points, 6,141. And the NASDAQ is also in the green, up 46 points to 22,447. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level on the go and at WIBC.com.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Looking for a cozy spot to relax, work, or grab your coffee to go? LC Coffee House in Noblesville, Indiana has you covered. Try our indulgent affogato, a sweet blend of espresso and ice cream, or sample our coffee flights to discover your perfect brew. In a rush, our drive-thru is ready to serve you fast and fresh. Need a space to collaborate? We offer meeting rooms perfect for co-working. Whether you're grabbing a quick drink or spending the day with us, LC Coffee House is the place to be.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
The Indiana Derby is one of the best days of summer. It's the state's biggest horse racing event with over $1 million in total purse money on the line. This is Racing Rachel inviting you to Horseshoe Indianapolis, Saturday, July 5th for all the fun. The 31st running of the Indiana Derby has a loaded race card with 8 stakes races featuring some of the nation's top 3-year-old thoroughbreds. And off track at Horseshoe Indy, we've got loads of other Derby Day entertainment for fans too, like a free cigar rolling station for the first 500 people, $1,000 hat contest, a handicapping contest, plus mega bet drawing, magic mirror selfie station, food trucks, and more. All ages are welcome, plus admission and parking are free. First race goes off at noon, rain or shine, with plenty of seating both indoors and out. So join us for the 31st running of the Indiana Derby, July 5th at Horseshoe, Indianapolis, just off I-74 in Shelbyville. Come on out and have a day.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Well, it's quickly become one of the favorite reoccurring segments on the program, Case.
Yeah.
It's Checkgate with the Secretary of State, Diego Morales.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Think about this. This has been going on since mid-March.
That's right. So just a reset, because everything we're about to talk about, Diego has done to himself. And he's done this because he is deliberately avoiding the most basic levels of transparency. So just a reset. I know most of our listeners know about this, but we'll do this because have you seen the ratings? Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Lots of new listeners. So Diego Morales, Secretary of State, he disappears in March for 10 days. He blows off his budget hearing, which is the most important thing any statewide office holder will do is their budget hearing. That's how you fund the office for the next 2 years. Nobody knows where he's at. They won't give it up. His staff won't give it up where he's at. Finally, they come out and go, he's in India on an economic development trip. And everybody's like, that's weird because, one, you left at the most important time of the year. No office that's remotely professional would allow that to happen. But two, you ain't got no economic development responsibilities. So what do you mean he's on an economic development mission? Well, they won't define what that is. And you try to get answers out of them, and you get half-assed answers most of the time, or non-answers in some case. And so what has been put together, what we know through this show, the Indy Reporter, Capital Chronicle, Indy Star, kind of the major people have been looking into this, is that he goes to India with this venture capital guy, Soho Capital, I think is the name of it, over on Lafayette Road.
Yeah.
He goes to India with this guy named Raju Chintala, who has this mysterious $80,000 contract with his office.
Because he's checking on businesses.
Who, when asked about what he did, he said, Diego's told me, quote, he's in the business services division. No, what does he do? He checks on the businesses. He makes sure they're okay. I was like, you mean what? He literally goes and knocks on a door?
You okay?
Is it like the Alien Ant Farm song, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Like, what does he do? They won't say. They end up in India, and Raju is bragging while he's in India with this state contract, listed as I think, senior advisor is what they listed him as, the groups that were there that he's supposedly spoken from. He's also bragging about selling EB5, I think, was the visa that he was selling.
That's correct.
And so now everybody's looking at this going, this is beyond bizarre. Okay, Mr. Secretary of State, because they claimed it was an official office visit.
He was speaking at the National Association of Software and Service Companies Global Conference in New Delhi.
Okay, so they claimed this was official office. They did press releases from his office. We said, okay, Mr. Secretary, can you tell us how much taxpayer money was used for this trip? How much did we pay for you to go? Well, nothing. Well, how does that work? Well, somebody else paid for it. Who? Some well-meaning private citizen paid for it. No, who? Well, I'm not going to tell you. Well, why not? Well, and of course, then they went silent for a while. And then the story they came up with was, well, I'm very concerned that this person will be protested the way Tesla was protested because of Elon Musk.
Sure.
And we said, wait a second. You're in a Republican supermajority state. All Republican supermajorities, House and Senate, Republican governor, all the statewide are Republican, senators are Republican, 7 of the 9 U.S. House are Republican. And you think in Indiana that they're going to protest whoever's business this is because you're the equivalent of Elon Musk. That's the story, and you're sticking to it. So then, I don't know, a couple weeks later or whatever, well, I've paid the money back.
Right.
I have paid for India.
He paid for it. He wants to put this all behind him. Can we move on?
So we said, okay, still very weird, but if you could just show the basic proof that you did that, then I think everybody, while they'll still think it's super weird that you're refusing to say in your official capacity as Secretary of State who paid for this trip, at least everybody will feel better knowing you reimbursed the money.
Right.
So they wouldn't come off that. So since our lieutenant governor is completely worthless, and Braun is completely worthless, and Rokita is completely worthless, and the General Assembly is completely worthless on getting any amount of transparency or forcing this guy to do anything to be remotely accountable to the taxpayers. And by the way, he did all of this to himself. If he hadn't gone to India, if he hadn't blown off his responsibilities, nobody would be talking about this. Nobody should feel remotely sorry for Diego about everything we're talking about right now. I said, all right, as usual, I'll do it. I'll do it. Because what we found out with the lieutenant governor was he was pledging to us, oh, I'll ask him. I'll get to the bottom of it. I'll publicly demand accountability. And then we found out he was going to Pacers games with Diego, laughing behind our back and laughing behind your back, the listener, the whole time, and hanging out with Diego at the NBA Finals with a convicted felon.
Right.
So I said, all right, as usual, since the people we elect and pay to do this
The
won't
people
do
who
it.
ran on saying, I will hold these people accountable.
Yeah.
I will use the bully pulpit.
Yeah.
I will be the voice of the people.
The radio guy will go do it.
Right.
So I gave up a Friday night, and I went to the Clay County Lincoln Day.
2 weeks ago
2 weeks ago.
today.
Yes, that's right. 2 weeks ago today. And Diego was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a very public conversation with him, with people who were around us so that they would hear the conversation, so that nobody would be able to be like, and they've never disputed anything that I've said that was said, right? They know it was filmed. They know people were there.
Right.
Notice anything I have said about that conversation, nobody has raised their hand and said, didn't happen.
That didn't happen,
Yeah.
right.
So Diego is panicking during this conversation because he has nowhere to run, right? He can't back out of it. He can't hide behind a press secretary or a comms director. And he's dry mouthed and his arms are flailing and he's gesturing and he's getting loud. And I just kept telling him, Diego, all we want to know is who paid for India. If you're not willing to disclose that, show us you paid the money back and proof that that check was cashed and what that amount matches up. And we'll be done here.
Right.
We'll be done here. And then bizarrely, and I don't know how in his mind why he went to this, but I get that when people are stuck, they do bizarre things. He goes, well, why don't you show me your paycheck? Why don't you show me your paycheck? I said, but I'm not a public servant. I don't work for the taxpayers. I work for a private company who they can decide to pay me or not based on my performance. And he kept coming back to it. So finally I said, okay.
Yeah.
You'll show us the check.
If you show your paycheck.
If I show you my paycheck. And I said, with receipts. And then he started getting squirrely about this. Well, I didn't say nothing about receipts.
Well, what's the point then?
So I said, all right, I'm going to start the dialogue with your comms secretary on Monday, and we'll come to some sort of agreement in which I will show you my paycheck, and you'll show us proof you paid the money back with some level of verification.
And
so
it matches the expenses from the trip.
So basically, for the past 2 weeks, we've been having a rather short, I guess you would call it, back and forth with his comms secretary, who, while very nice, is basically giving us one-sentence responses.
Right.
They're usually the equivalent of, hey, you up, like in that tone. And then when we had last left you, we had been going back and forth on her sending these cryptic, are you available to meet today messages.
Right.
And I was like, I'm available by phone. Are you available today?
It's 2:30 p.m. Are you available this afternoon? What?
So finally, I just said, what would you like to meet to discuss? And she responded. This was on, what day was this? This was the 26th, it appears, at 3:11 p.m. Rob, I wanted to coordinate a time, place to show you a copy of the reimbursement check. No, that's not right. What day was this? This was the 24th, June the 24th. So that would have been, today is the 27th. That would have been Tuesday, right? I wanted to coordinate a time, place to show you a copy of the reimbursement check. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Right.
I will then read my correspondence to her because what I did was I'm taking this very seriously. It's not a game to me. It's not a joke. It's not gotcha journalism. It's not shock jocking. I just want to know proof it was paid back. And so I went to multiple people who work in the banking and financial industry and in the payroll industry. And I said, in order to secure that I know and that our audience knows and the public knows this money was paid back, what should I ask to see?
Right.
What is the most basic level of transparency?
What am I looking for?
I'm not trying to dig in the guy's personal life. He did this as Secretary of State. I don't want to be asking for anything exorbitant. I don't want to be over the top about it. I want to have proof, and then we'll all go home. And to a person, these people who work in payroll and the banking industry and the financial industry all said the same thing. You would be a complete idiot if you did not insist upon proof that that check was deposited and when.
Right.
They told me how to ask for that, whether it's via check or some sort of bank transfer. And they said you would also be a complete idiot if you didn't insist on receipts that would match the way any person who was reimbursing any sort of business expense whatsoever would not insist upon.
Right.
And I asked these people, and all of them, I said, I don't want to be seeming as over the top. I don't want to be being ridiculous. They said, no, that is totally basic professional business practice, what you're asking for.
So Diego came out and he said, I paid for the trip.
Yes.
I reimbursed.
That's correct.
What exactly did you reimburse?
Right, because the person, all these people, and the person in payroll who handles checks said this most emphatically, the check means nothing because he's blurring out the name, which we told him he could do. I said, that's fine.
Right.
There's no proof the check was ever cashed.
Right.
There's no proof when the check was written. there's no proof what it actually paid for. He's showing you nothing by simply showing you a check with no proof of anything that it was deposited. And every single person that I talked to said this exact same thing with various levels of passion. And so I sent the email upon her saying we're prepared to show you the check. And I said, thank you for attempting to coordinate a time. Just to be specific, we are meeting to view the following items. Payment reimbursement. Proof the payment reimbursement was cash deposited and on what date.
Right.
Receipts matching the amount the payment was reimbursed. The ability to provide confirmation to the public of the above to the public.
Right. And the date is also important as well.
Yes.
Because
very important.
He went out publicly and said, I reimbursed it. Well, you got to make sure that that date of the check or the money order or however he reimbursed was before, or it was deposited before he said he reimbursed it.
That's right. This was the response I got yesterday.
Okay.
Hi, Rob. As previously stated, we are willing to show you a copy of the reimbursement check, which is more than sufficient. That's it.
That's it. That's all you get.
So that's the level of transparency the Secretary of State believes you, the public, deserve on an issue that he created for himself. Now, there's nothing I can do to make him do anything. I have no power. You know who does? Mike Braun, Indiana State Police, Secretary of the Attorney General to some extent. These people can force this. I cannot. There's only so far I can take it. You, the public, have to force this from here because I'm rejecting those terms outright. It's insulting. It's insulting. The whole thing is insulting. This whole past 3.5 months has been insulting. This is not normal behavior. Screw not professional behavior. Screw not transparent to the taxpayer behavior. It's not normal behavior. Diego made this problem. Diego's the one who made the deal because he, in a panic, started running his mouth. And so I am rejecting these terms.
So where do we go from here?
Well, I don't know. We're going to have to...
Are you going to reply to her?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm replying right now, aren't I? I mean, they clearly hear it. They know it.
Right.
But am I out of bounds on this by saying this is ridiculous?
No, not at all. He can show you a check all day long.
Right.
That's great. Has it actually been deposited? And does it match up with the receipts or the expenses that were incurred on the trip?
That's all I want. That's all the public wants.
Reimbursed it.
And we're just going off of what you have said, the information that you have volunteered, Diego, which is you paid the money back. Cool. If you did that, show us the proof.
Right.
That's it. That's all people want. And so I don't know. You know, sometimes it's like maybe, you know, Trump and the Iranians. Maybe you think the negotiations are over, and then maybe maybe somebody comes back with a change of heart. Maybe they'll say, hey, you know what? We have agreed that would be good for everybody. Because it would be good for Diego. If indeed he's paid the money back, that would be the best thing for him.
That would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we all can move on from this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, more on the dysfunction in the Hogsett administration, and it's Beer Sample Friday, 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for detail.
Denny Smith here. The hot summer sales continue at Miss M's Home and Garden and Sundown Gardens. Happening now, save more when you buy more trees and shrubs. Now, when you buy 2, you save 10%. When you buy 4, you save 20%. And get this, when you buy 6 or more trees and or shrubs, you save 30%. Also, if you need a refresh in the porch planters, annuals are 30% off. Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road in Barkersville. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street, Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. You can say goodbye to cracked, stained, and dirty old floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out the color. Upgrade your home today by calling Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. And they come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. The phone number, 877-417-0635. You can find them online, too. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Plus, get free home delivery with most smart beds, limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
There's something timeless about radio. It's where stories are told, ideas are shared, and communities stay connected. Our generation grew up with it, and we still believe in the power of tuning in. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe planning for retirement should feel just as familiar and trusted. That's why we're bringing real conversations and practical advice to the airwaves. Join us every Sunday at 9 p.m. for our Retire with Purpose Radio Hour, right here on 93.1 WIBC. We'll talk about what really matters in retirement, income you can count on, choices you can feel good about, and a future that reflects your values. Because some things, like good planning and good radio, never go out of style. Howard Bailey Financial, retirement planning that speaks your language. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com. The Retire with Purpose Radio Hour is a paid placement on each airing station.
Addiction doesn't just affect one person, it touches everyone around them. That's why Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick created the Supporting Sobriety podcast. It's for the friends and family standing behind, offering hope, guidance, and real talk. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Make you smile whenever you're sad. Carry you around when your arthritis is bad. All I wanna do is grow old with you.
Hot take, The Wedding Singer is one of the 10 greatest movies of all time.
Yeah,
Casey.
you think so?
Oh, as a kid, I was in the 8th grade. I remember going to see that in the 8th grade. That would have been February of 1998. I remember going to see that. That's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah,
yes.
it's a good one.
Adam Sandler, he's coming in concert, right?
It's his You're My Best Friend tour. He's coming to Indianapolis. He's going to be at Gamebridge on Monday, October 6th. It's part of a 30-city tour. And pre-sale tickets went on sale last night. General public tickets go on sale today at noon.
Yeah, so the younger people obviously will know him primarily as a big movie star, the comedies, the the remake of Happy Gilmore's coming out. But for people my age, we remember him first as the comedy singing guy on Saturday Night Live. Right. And then he had these musical albums that he put out before his movie career, and he was a very talented singer, musician. The movie The Wedding Singer, he is actually singing throughout the whole movie. He's this local townie wedding singer, which is just hilarious. And now he's kind of gotten back as he's become disgustingly rich and just does whatever he wants. He's kind of gotten back into, over the last few years, doing more live music events and touring, and clearly must enjoy doing that because he didn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do.
I always liked him in 50 First Dates.
Yeah,
with your favorite Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore was also great in The Wedding Singer. One of the things that you realize about those guys, whether it's Sandler or Will Ferrell, Chris Farley, they sort of have a pattern where, like, the first, because they're limited, right? This is not Al Pacino, this is not Robert De Niro. The first 3 or 4 movies that they'll do. So for Adam Sandler, it was Happy Gilmore, it was The Wedding Singer, it was The Water Boy,
Billy Madison.
Billy Madison. They're all just instant classics that people love. And then after about the 5th or 6th one, you're like, it's kind of just the same guy in every movie. What's the little Big Daddy was another one.
Little Nicky.
And then after about number 7, it's, well, I'm just seeing the same guy in a different plot.
Right, doing the same thing over and over again. And then many times there's a bit of a reinvention of, I'm going to be a serious actor.
Yeah, and are you like me, whether it's Jim Carrey or Adam Sandler or any of those guys, you can't not laugh at them when you see them and you struggle in serious roles, not because they're not doing okay, but you just want to laugh at them every time you see them, and then you realize I'm not supposed to be laughing.
Right, this is, but it's harder to believe coming from some actors. Robin Williams, I think, was able to pull that off very well.
Yes, you're right. Robin Williams did do numerous dramatic roles where he was very good. Yeah, you're right. He's one of the few guys who was actually able to pull that off. And
maybe Adam Sandler needs to grow a beard. Because every time
he does have a beard.
Does he?
Yes.
Every time Robin Williams had a beard, he was doing the dramatic.
Oh, he's doing dramatic.
Yeah.
And when he was clean shaven, he was being funny Robin Williams.
Right.
Huh.
So, I don't know if that's the trick. Maybe Adam Sandler can look into that.
All right. So when we come back, it's time. It's one of our favorite parts of the week. The guy who he brings the receipts, as we like to say.
That's right.
The guy who
lots of research,
putting out information like anybody else in Indiana politics and government. The head honcho over at the Indy Reporter account, Stephen Whitmer, is going to join us next.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling? We'll find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
When was the last time you practiced your home fire escape plan? Be sure everyone in your family knows what to do if there's a fire. Get out, stay out. It's your fire safe response.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, what witnesses say happened in the death of a child early this morning in Cumberland. The charges against a 16-year-old in a downtown shooting from earlier this month, where a man in Evansville was arrested for having an underage girl with him, and the fever slipping back below 500 following last night's loss. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Free speech, election maps, and books in schools. I'm Chris Foster at Fox News. With 6 cases left, those are some of the issues we expect opinions on this hour, this last day of the Supreme Court's term. Another case is about the power of federal judges to block President Trump's order ending birthright citizenship.
That came to the court in the context of a case on birthright citizenship, but it's really about that issue of whether one of 700 federal district judges nationwide has the power to shut down presidential actions like executive orders for the entire country. But that case did not follow the same procedural path as a normal case would, so not clear if the justices believe it has to be released with the other decisions as the term ends, or whether we may have to wait a little bit longer to get an answer.
Fox Chief Legal Correspondent Shannon Bream. Members of the House get a classified briefing today on Iran's nuclear program and U.S. airstrikes on nuclear facilities.
Senate Republicans were impressed what they heard in their briefing yesterday. However, some Democrats remain skeptical about the success of the strikes. They argue that Iran maintains nuclear ambitions. Now, the Senate could vote on a resolution by Democrat Tim Kaine today. It would restrict action against Iran. The vote could split the Democrats. There's concern about handcuffing the president. Republicans argue that Kaine's plan is a stunt.
Fox's chat program at the Capitol. There's a new report on inflation and consumer spending.
The Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index rose 0.1% in May. Core PCE, excluding food and energy, was slightly higher, up 0.2. For the year ending in May, the PCE up 2.3%, and core PCE rose 2.7%. Americans cut back on some spending. Personal consumption declined 0.1%. Paychecks shrank. Personal incomes declined 0.4%. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
Stocks are higher this morning on Wall Street. The Dow is up 312. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A 12-year-old dead in a shooting. It's sunny and 83 on Monument Circle, but feels like 92. That'll be the high for today. A heat advisory is still in effect. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Investigators are in Cumberland to figure out how a 12-year-old ended up with a firearm and shot himself. Witnesses told police that the shooting was accidental. The boy was taken to an Indy hospital, but later died. A man is found dead from a shooting in a northwest Indianapolis apartment. Homicide detectives are leading that investigation. Authorities are asking anyone with information about the shooting to contact IMPD. A 16-year-old is facing adult charges for a shooting on the Circle from earlier this month that injured 3 people. NDFOP President Rick Snyder says it's possible that the charges could be pleaded down under the guise of a conviction.
What we often find with these types of cases is it's important to follow them all the way through the adjudication process. Oftentimes we see that they get charged as an adult, but believe it or not, they actually get a slap on the wrist oftentimes because they have no prior criminal history as an adult.
Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears will bring forth the charges. In Evansville, a convicted child molester is arrested and a missing girl is found. Deputies arrested 26-year-old Christopher Gamble after locating the missing girl in a hotel room with Gamble early Thursday morning. The girl was found hidden in the ceiling of the room. Gamble was wanted on multiple felony charges of child molesting. He now faces multiple preliminary charges, including contributing to the delinquency of a minor. The Indiana Pacers adding 2 new players to the team from the NBA draft last night in Brooklyn in the second round at pick 38. They got Marquette guard Cam Jones. Then with the 54th selection, they took Liberty guard Talon Peters. Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White says her team is giving up too many late-game leads.
I think that we haven't shown a killer instinct yet, and that's we have had a tendency to relax in those moments instead of, for lack of a better term, go for the kill.
She added that's likely why the team let last night's game against the LA Sparks slip away. Losers 85-75 in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Caitlin Clark was absent from the lineup again, this time with an injured groin. The team will now face the Dallas Wings tonight on the road. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall Casey back in 1 minute.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, it's that time.
It is.
We talked to the guy who, as the kids say, the children say, he brings the receipts.
He brings the heat is what he's bringing.
It's one of the most entertaining things going on in Indiana politics and government. It is the Indy Reporter Twitter account. If you're not following, you absolutely should. At Indy_Reporter_. The face behind that whole operation. There's many names, most of them anonymous, but the one guy who will step out in public and reveal himself to the world, Stephen Whitmer. Hello.
Hello, coming out of the shadows.
All right, so many things to get to. By the way, when you think about what you do, so for those who don't know, you are an expert at finding stuff on people.
I try it. I pretend.
That's what you do. You have the ability. And you actually gave us a tutorial the other day on the YouTube on how you do this. You can find about anything, just about on anybody in a relatively short period of time.
I try to be as efficient as possible.
And you have decided to white hat that ability and use it for good, which is transparency for the taxpayers.
Well, it's one kamikaze is fun, but multiple ones are even better.
That's right.
I love how you're not gatekeeping either.
No, I want trying to spread out the word of how to do all this stuff so everybody has the power so they don't feel limited on what they can and can't do.
And one of the things we said about a month ago now is when Micah totally turned tail and ran and screwed everybody, as I said, we have nobody left fighting for us. So what we need, Casey, is we need more kamikaze pilots like us who just don't care. And I said, I know just the guy.
Well, I think that's incorrect. It's the fact that they do care.
Well, about themselves.
Well, about the taxpayers.
Oh, no. I'm saying, well, you're saying him.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. I thought you were saying Mike. I was like, well, what are the politicians? All right. So you have, as always, you bring a bevy of information to us. Let's start with the IEDC. You have dug deep. Braun makes this big pronunciation about I've got 9 new board members. It's all going to be different. And you said, oh, no, it's just a bunch of rich, connected people.
Yeah, shocker, right? So very first thing that they do with this new IEDC board is they have approved 4 more data centers. And I just want to go back a little bit, though. Kayla Dwyer had this article, and they showed that throughout the...
From IndyStar.
From IndyStar, had this article about how there were $260,000 worth of campaign donations that were given to Braun from these IADC members.
Wait. So 9 people. Now, we're assuming John Gregg didn't write a big check. Maybe he did. I don't know. I mean, that's a different party. But you're telling me between these 9 people, $260,000. Public school math tells me that's about, 27, 28 large a person on average. That's not chump change.
No, it's not. It's definitely not up my alley for giving out money. But yeah, according to Kayla Dwyer from IndyStar, it was $260,000. We went a little bit deeper, though, on that. We wanted to see if any of these people had gotten IEDC contracts at all. So it come to find out that Billy Dragu, who is the CEO of Rebucare, it's a healthcare place, she had gotten, her Rebucare had gotten contracts in 2012 and 2016. The one in 2012 was $1.2 million. The one in 2016 got $800,000.
Okay, so this is important, right? Because this is the equivalent, and I'm sure you're going to give us more names here in just a second, of basically the fox watching the hen house. This is people who have benefited from this organization, and now we're told, and the major issue with this organization is alleged. It could be unethical. It could be blatant corruption. We don't know what this forensic audit is going to find. Clearly, Braun claims it was bad enough he had to kick everybody out. And yet the people he's putting in...
They're not any better. Turns out.
They've also been making some moolah off the organization.
It actually might be worse than the previous board. And the other one name was George Thomas. He got an IED contract in 2019 for $700,000. Also gave Braun $25,000. So
let's go back to the data centers for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is obviously becoming, and I know you've been talking about this for a long time. We've been talking about this for a long time. And I think the public is wising up because you got to really understand local government and how it works to understand what a danger these data centers are, where there's all these articles now about how they're getting these 50-year tax abatements. So it's going to be forever before they ever pay their quote unquote, fair share, what they should be paying. Normal abatements are 5 to 10 years on large buildings. And then they're sucking all this power, which is making everybody else run out of power, which means everybody's going to pay more for power because they got to do all this research and development to create more power.
Yeah, and what's really bad about it is I really followed the LaPorte one because I have family over there, and so it's a 50, and then it's similar to the Franklin Township one, 50-year sales tax deal. So hardware, wiring, that kind of stuff. 10-year property tax abatement with an option to renew to it.
Oh.
See, that's where I
With
came
an
in.
option to renew.
See, this is where the 50-year comes in. So they're getting all this benefit on the sales tax side, right? Income tax, sales tax, and then they're getting this property tax, which is the full freight of 10 years plus more potentially. And it's not really helping anyone because there's not many jobs that come with these.
No, in fact, they even talked about it, like 50 jobs at the most. And we've talked about this before. Are those 50 jobs here in the States or even in the country? We're not sure.
So what's the benefit of having these data centers?
For the normal public, really not much. I mean, you're not getting a whole lot of salary tax off of it, but it's more for the developers. It's the developers are going to get a huge chunk of change off of it. The Google and Amazon, they're all going to be doing cloud storage through there.
And there was some big controversy about something on the south side with one of these guys, right?
Yeah, Franklin Township. I went to those board meetings, which is funny because one of the data centers got approved was Project Flow, FLO. And I went to, I think it was 2 or 3 meetings of it. Our friend of the program, Michael Paul Hart, was also there too, and he was indicating people. He was indicating to the people that he would help make sure that that data center did not show up or did not come to fruition. But yesterday on Tony Katz, he told them, "Is like, hey, you know what? This is what the people want, so I'm going to make sure that I get it done."
That interview with Katz yesterday was we did the right thing by canceling the Hart interview.
100%. I've said this for a long time. I have commentary videos about Michael Paul Hart, and he is the king of Yappersville.
So you mentioned 4 data centers. Where are they?
So I believe one was in Hancock County.
Yeah, they're all over the state.
They're
and it's spread over many years, right? I mean, this is not tomorrow. It's like going all the way out to 2034 of approval of these data centers.
I think 3 of them were in Marion County, and one might have been Hancock County. Funny enough, though, one of the IEDC members, Chris King, tried to get a data center in Hancock County, and it failed.
So Stephen Whitmer is our guest. He's the Indy Reporter guru. You can find him on Twitter at Indy_reporter_. By the way, how has your life changed since you started becoming a regular on the Kendall and Casey show?
I have been getting ghost phone numbers texting me saying you're on the wrong track. Somehow they know what I'm researching at that exact moment, and then they say, hey, you're wrong on this. Here's the truth. They're like, oh, okay, well, give me the receipts because I obviously pull them out.
Okay. Are you getting mail that you have to have someone else open?
Yeah.
That happens here with us.
I haven't gotten any stickers yet.
Okay, so let's talk about Diego for a second. We made the big announcement earlier in the program. He is now they had said, well, we'll show you the check. And we said, okay. So I called some people in the banking and payroll industry, and they were like, you would be the biggest idiot in the world if you didn't demand that he show proof of it was deposited, when it was deposited, and the receipts. And these are multiple people who are not connected to each other, all work in the financial industry. So we sent the email and said, here's what we'd like to see. And they're like, nope, you can see the check. That's it.
Yeah. And so I went a little bit deeper on Diego because this is the thing that I'm focused on. I am just locked in trying to figure out this whole Diego situation. Found another little nugget, though, with one of his donors and former business partners, Damian Pondel.
Okay, so let's come back real quick. I don't mean to cut you off, but this is important because remember, Casey, when we interviewed Diego in 22 when he was running at convention?
Correct.
And the big thing on him at the time was, what does he do?
And he kept, it was like doing business ads.
He was like talking about this staffing company. And it's like, okay, you're on WIBC. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars every year to advertise in this radio station.
Right.
Or you run a staffing company, which means you do business. You solicit business.
Take the free publicity.
And he was super sketchy about, because I asked him, I said, you never seem to be at work. You're always at campaign events.
How do you do it?
And he's like, well, I have people who help out. And there was like, he was super sketchy about this. Okay, so what have you found about the staffing company and the guy with him?
Found this guy named Damian Pondel. He's been the CEO of V24 since 2019. The connection between him and Diego is that they were partners on that staffing. It's called Venture Staffing. It was only around from 2020 to 2023. Here's where it gets really fun. So I went and found V24. They're off of South Keystone. Guess who's not there, but the sign is there. V24. So Damian Pondel's LinkedIn shows them to be at 333 Alabama Street, which is the Sears Roebuck building. You know who's there? not V24. I went through both floors, couldn't find them at all, trying to figure this whole thing out.
I love that he's like become the investigative guy on Matlock.
I know.
You're like one of these sleuths now. You need a hat and a magnifying glass when you walk places.
Yeah, I need to have change ready so I don't get another parking violation.
That's true.
Okay, so just to come back to this, the other thing that stood out when you said it was only active from 2020 to 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, in my mind, if you have a company, like Donald Trump runs a company, he becomes president.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't just shut the company down. Diego allegedly had this business, which is how he was earning his living, and then he gets elected at the end of 22, and then you're saying by 23, they're just like, well, we're done here. I'm not an expert in staffing. I don't think that's really how it works.
No, and here's another thing that this will really blow everybody's mind. This is really throw the whole thing together. So we were kind of at a dead end. Where do we go from here? So we decided to look up who owns the building on South Keystone for V24. So we found out that it goes to 3919 Lafayette Road, Suite 395. Who owns that building? Who's part of that building? Soho's Capital. So Soho's Capital owns the building that V24 is supposed to be in. Soho's Capital, if everybody forgot, was Fabio De La Cruz, the CEO that went with Diego, his wife, Raju, on that India trip.
Do you have any theory on why no one in enforcement will touch this? I mean, at the very least, there's so many red flags about this.
There are
and maybe,
so many.
look, if it's nothing, fine. But I've seen much less investigated.
Yeah, and I can't figure it out why nobody has touched this. And obviously, our top cop of Indiana, Todd Rokita, endorsed Diego, so he's not going to touch it, even though he said on Casey Hendrickson that it's out of his jurisdiction.
Yeah.
They had to go to the IG.
Yeah, because Rokita's always so concerned about what's in his purview and what's not,
That's
right? It is one of the best things going on, maybe the best thing going on with Indiana politics and government right now. It's the Indy Reporter Twitter account. I think like half our show comes from this guy now.
Yeah, no kidding.
At Indy_Reporter_. If you want to stay up to date on what's going on with Indiana politics and government. Stephen Whitmer, thank you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Karine Jean-Pierre. Latest to put some tell-all book out there about the Biden White House and...
her horrible book. Karine Jean-Pierre and her horrible book. Ugh.
She's saying that she is leaving the Democrat Party now because of the way the party treated Joe Biden.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
So what's in the bag today? Yesterday's leftovers? Another lunch meat sandwich? Well, go ahead and pull up a rock and settle in for a half hour of I wish I was eating something else. Or you could be eating something else, or someplace else. If you're brown bagging it at the corner of 30th and Shadeland area, drop over to His Place Eatery for 30 minutes of, why didn't I know about this place sooner? Nothing fancy, not a lot of frills. They save that for the quality of the meal. Like ribs that fall off the bone, southern fried chicken, sides that will cause your taste buds to thank you into tomorrow. Put that in your brown bag and eat it. Better yet, bank the bag. Go to His Place Eatery at the corner of 30th and Shadeland, or the newest location off 86th and Ditch Road. Your dirty boots and work clothes are welcome here. His Place, your place for lunch. Go to hisplaceeatery.com to learn more.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The Depot presents Freedom Fest at Depot Street Park in Greenfield this Saturday, featuring Smash Mouth.
Hey now, you're an all-star.
Enjoy the beer garden, food vendors, and Smash Mouth with special guests That 90s Band and Reveal. Free admission this Saturday and bring your lawn chairs.
So don't delay, act now, supplies are running out.
The gates open at 2 p.m. at Depot Street Park in Greenfield.
You might as well be walking on the sun.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to be.
Okay, so there's a big ruling that came in from the Supreme Court. This is the last day of the court, so we may have several of them today. Usually the way the Supreme Court operates is the last day. They usually try to do a slow drip towards the final week or whatever, one big case sort of a day or every other day, and then at the end there's oftentimes a flurry of activity so they can get out of town without having to deal with the grief.
Right, exactly. They want to have 4th of July off. Well, the court is going to allow the Trump administration to partially enforce that executive order ending birthright citizenship.
Well, okay, so the bigger issue here is whether or not a single judge can shut down, can rule for the whole nation.
And they said no.
Right. So what has happened is, and this has obviously become more and more common as the political divide has gotten greater, when somebody has a case that is political in one way or another, they do the equivalent of they do judge shopping. It's equivalent of like they're just looking for the judge.
Right.
We can file this lawsuit anywhere in the country because we think it'll apply anywhere, and we'll find one district court judge who we think will side with us. We'll file it in that court, and then we'll kickstart the whole thing with a win. And what has been happening is these judges have been issuing what are like blanket rulings for the country. Like, oh, this has to apply to everyone. And the Trump administration is like, no. That's not how this works. Like, you rule in your district. You have jurisdiction over your district. There's no way that a district judge in Southern California should be able to have jurisdiction over a judge in Central Indiana. That doesn't make any sense. That's not the way this was designed. It's not the way this was intended. None of that. Now, this is centering right now. The birthright citizenship thing is not like being ruled on by the court itself.
No, but it's paving the way for that.
Sure. Yeah, right. And so a federal judge had struck down the birthright citizenship thing that Trump is trying to do. He said, well, it applies for the entire nation. Trump said, no, that's not how it works. And the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of the Trump administration, saying that a district court judge cannot issue a blanket-wide injunction. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, and just real quick, why this was important. It doesn't mean, it does not, so don't think I'm saying this. It doesn't mean that the Supreme Court is going to rule that birthright citizenship is null and void. They may. What they're saying, though, is if they had ruled in favor of this, against Trump, then it would have been dead in the water. It means they're going to hear this. It means this is going to be heard and ruled on by them. So this was the birthright citizenship is the issue, but it's a huge win for common sense in saying that one guy of the hundreds and hundreds of federal judges in this country, one guy cannot rule by edict for the entire country.
Yeah, the Supreme Court said that it exceeds their authority, and the ruling was 6-3. Amy Coney Barrett was the person writing the majority opinion. Of course, all the liberal judges dissented.
All right, so there is that. All right, we got mail. Should I?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the rules on the program. If you're a listener to the program, you should know the rules by now. I do not open the mail. Doesn't matter if you put my name on it. I do not open the mail. If you're going to get me, you ain't getting me through the U.S. mail. Okay? If you're sending something
You gotta
nefarious,
work harder than that.
if you're sending something nefarious through the mail, you're going to get Casey, and she deserves much better than that.
It's true.
So never send anything nefarious through the mail. So you opened this letter that we got. And not only in addition to the letter, there was also a fabulous sticker of some sort that came with it. Would you like to describe the sticker in question?
Well, it says it's Mike Braun's campaign logo.
Yes, looks identical. Yes.
And it's got the state of Indiana and some red stripes, which kind of makes the American flag.
Sure.
There's something placed within the state of Indiana. And then there's a saying on the bottom.
You gotta do better than this case. You're leaving a lot to the imagination.
What Mike Braun did to the state of Indiana.
There is a reproductive area placed on the Indiana flag.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember that word that Donald Trump used in his helicopter
Rhymes with stick. No, I'm saying I'm describing
with duck.
Well, we got two things we got to describe here, Casey, without violating community standards.
Yeah.
First of all, what's on the flag? Because the Braun logo has the Indiana flag.
Okay, what's on the flag?
The flag with the state of Indiana on it. There is a
body part.
reproductive area on the flag, and then yes, at the bottom of the sticker, it says that Mike Braun did something to Indiana, which Donald Trump recently used in a press conference. Case is blurring out the reproductive organ in question, and also blurring out the word on the YouTube. If you'd like to see, she's holding that up there. You can watch the program, by the way, on the YouTube. Safe to say, this person is rightfully so very unpleased with the Braun administration.
Yeah.
And they also sent a very nice corresponding letter. Now, many of you have asked about, we have recently been reading the mail, both the love mail and the hate mail, without music behind it. What we figured out was that music triggers something on the internet, which gets our
it boots us
show taken down for the archive. It doesn't get us kicked off the live stream, but something on the archive.
Copywriting.
Yeah, a lot of people like the which is so weird because we're allowed to play music. I don't mean to get into like a behind the scenes dealio like on Inside Baseball, but we're allowed to do that. We play bumper music and all the other stuff. But for whatever reason, doing that with the mail has triggered some sort of something that the YouTube does not like. So we have been reading. We were in search of new music. Kevin found some music, and I resoundingly rejected.
Yeah, it just wasn't right. We need to keep looking.
Kevin will keep looking for a Young and the Restless type of theme that I can put behind this music. But I will read this sans music if you're ready. All right?
I'm ready.
Hi, Casey and Rob. So you went with you first this time.
Yeah, well,
very good.
know.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of the program and appreciate the information and analysis you provide via your show, especially those things on a local level. Please keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
To quote the cartoon character Popeye the Sailor Man, that's all I can stands. I can't stands no more. I'm tired of Mike Braun's lies, especially regarding his lie about him fighting, in quotes, to lower our property taxes.
Yeah.
The property taxes on our home have gone up 206% since my wife and I purchased it 9 years ago. Needless to say, our income certainly has not risen by anywhere near that level in the same time. It's out of control. So I've decided to start hitting back with a viral campaign highlighting how bad Braun and Micah suck. I took some creative liberties with the Mike Braun for Indiana logo on his campaign, and, well, you can judge for yourself whether you like how these stickers turned out. These will start appearing all over town, anywhere you can slap a sticker, and this is just the first of many ways I plan to highlight their failures. I've focused on the governor's office for now, but I'm not ruling out other elected officials, both statewide and local, in the future. These people need to be mocked, shamed, pointed at, and laughed into oblivion so they never want to show their faces in public again. I'm hoping my small contribution will help with that. Thanks again for all you do, Tim.
All right.
So
this is what you're going to be seeing, according to him.
Can I hang this in our office? Because I really want to put this on the. You know, my office is just a hodgepodge of insanity.
Yeah, I think you can. Go ahead. Go for it. You didn't create it.
But if I
You're
put
just
it
showing off.
if I put it on the window, though, everyone will see it when they walk past.
Yeah, that's true.
Should I just maybe put it in the office? Because a listener sent it to us.
Yeah.
So it'd be rude if we didn't.
Right. It absolutely.
Okay, so I think I'll just put it in the office. It's a sticker. I can remove it. I was thinking about putting it on my automobile when I just saw the bottom part, which described what Mike Braun did to Indiana. But then I saw the reproductive organ on there, too, and I thought 2 of them is probably too much for an automobile.
Is that too far?
Probably.
Yeah. I think you'll be okay. I mean, if the president of the United States can say the word.
That's a fair point.
I think you're okay.
But it'll be nice. I'll put this in the office, and then every day when I come in, I'll see it, and it will give me fire, the fire inside, to do the show each day.
Okay.
All right, very good. All right, okay, so when we come back, I hope you'll indulge me. I think I got gaslit last night at the Brownsburg Town Council meeting.
What?
Well, people said stuff.
You're getting gaslit all over the place.
And then they acted like they didn't say the thing that I clearly heard them say. So I'm going to play you the audio.
Oh.
And let you tell me
Okay.
if once again these dirty, no good, rotten lawmakers
trying to get away with
are getting
something
fast and loose with the truth.
Had it not been for you meddling kids. Those meddling kids are Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP 105-195. Nautilus MSRP 60-195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A blockbuster ruling from the Supreme Court. Plenty of sunshine, 85 in downtown Indy. A heat advisory still in effect today. Your high is 92. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:31. The Supreme Court deciding to limit the ability of federal judges to issue nationwide injunctions.
But it's written by Justice Barrett. And essentially what she says some say that the universal injunctions give the judiciary a powerful tool to check the executive branch. But she says federal courts do not exercise general oversight of the executive branch. They resolve cases and controversies consistent with the authority Congress has given to them. When a court concludes the executive branch has acted unlawfully, the answer is not for the court to exceed its power. They are limiting these injunctions. We know here that they have granted at least partially the stay to these preliminary injunctions, but they say only to the extent that the injunctions are broader than necessary to provide complete relief to each plaintiff with standing to sue.
Fox's Shannon Bream reporting. This is the last public session for the High Court until the start of their new term in the fall. Republicans running into some issues in passing President Trump's big, beautiful bill ahead of next week's deadline. Fox's Chad Pergram.
Republicans agree on renewing the 2017 tax cuts. They're aligned on no taxes on tips, but the Senate budget referee nixed dozens of GOP items. That's because they don't comply with Senate rules. What this means is the Senate is making major changes to the House bill. Some conservatives will oppose the changes, and they really don't like that the Senate parliamentarian acts provisions to bar illegal immigrants from receiving benefits from Medicare and Medicaid.
Democrats have argued the legislation would devastate services such as Medicaid and food stamps. President Trump claiming the U.S. and China have agreed to roll back certain tariffs on each other. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says both countries had been working on reaching a deal for some time. He added they have safeguards in place if China violates the agreement. And actor Rick Hurst has died. He was best known for his role as Deputy Cletus Hogg in The Dukes of Hazzard. He passed away this week at the age of 79. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Are you worried about your taxes? Okay, so I'm talking to those of you out there that have not filed in a few years with the IRS or state. It's time to get worried, and here's why. The IRS is getting back from their own COVID lockdown, and they're hiring more enforcers, and they're going to come after people that owe taxes. So if you're a 1099 worker, and maybe you just plain forgot to file your taxes, you need to call the professionals right now at the Tax Helpline. They are experts at knowing the tax regulations valuations, and their goal is to help you pay as little as possible. Call right now and get a 100% free tax evaluation. Remember, before the IRS knocks on your door, knock on our door. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, make this free call right now.
Call Texas 321 now at 800-808-9443. 800-808-9443. That's 800-808-9443.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Plus, get free home delivery with most smart beds, limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Weekday mornings at 7:15, the Tony Katz Popcorn Moment, brought to you by Boer Remodeling. Don't wait any longer for the kitchen you've been dreaming of. Request a consultation at boerremodeling.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
Okay, you're the voice of reason on this program.
Try to be. Somebody has to be.
And so I'm going to need you to put that voice of reason hat on.
Okay.
Because you know me, I'm just blinded by rage with all these people. And I can't make a heads or tails of anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. All right. So last night, I went to a meeting there in Warehouseburg.
Mm-hmm.
A rare, random, probably confused, very likely accidental act of government accountability broke out.
Oh.
They, by a score of 3-2, voted down a development that would have been more irresponsible growth for the town.
This wasn't the aquatic center.
No,
was it?
this is not the aquatic center.
This is something else.
No, we don't know on the aquatic center
Okay.
yet. We don't know yet. We know nobody wants it, but we don't know if they're going to do the right thing. We don't know.
More time for public comment.
So anyway, as part of this development, so the vote's 3-2, and our old pal Lion Ben Lacey has reemerged his hand from the grave of bad government, and he's of course on the side of letting this irresponsible development just pop up there, right?
Sure.
And then he's making the case on why he thinks. And by the way, these things when we talk about Warehouseburg, it's just because I'm there and I go to these meetings.
Right.
They apply. This crap is happening all over the place, and the stuff I'm talking about, and the types of things that are happening. That's why we use them. We use them as examples.
Right.
I can't go to every city or town's council meeting, even
Although the governor told you were
that's
going
my
to
job.
do that. Yeah.
Now I'm doing my part, right? So, like, I just my question to Lieutenant Governor and the governor who've told me it's all my job to hold everyone accountable is I'm doing my best on the Lieutenant Governor or on the Secretary of State. I'm trying to do it for the Indianapolis City County Council, so I don't even live. I'm trying to do it with the Brown. Like, I would like to be able to be a dad. Do I get 5 minutes to be able to be?
It's your job to hold everybody accountable. And the governor told you it was also your job to go knock on doors to beat referendums. But anyway. He was going to do that with you, though. So at least you'll have a partner when you have to do that.
And Micah said he's going, too. They better get those walking shoes ready because we know Avon and Fort Wayne are likely
They're
going.
already in the works.
Okay, so he's talking about our old pal, Lion Ben Lacey. He's talking about why he's for this development. And he then launches in and pivots to this thing about income tax, which we know in the Senate Bill 1, they made a special carve-out that specifically now for the first time allows your local unit of government, cities and towns, to raise income tax.
Right.
Now, Braun and Beckwith told us that's not happening.
Right. We were assured they weren't going to be doing that.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to play you this clip.
Okay.
And you tell me, because I'm sitting in the back. And, of course, anytime I hear the term income tax, and I know enough words, I've been around this long enough, I just start seeing red.
Did they say the word revenue?
My synapses no longer fire in a proper fashion anymore. I have entered seek, kill, destroy mode. I'm not functioning like a normal human being.
You like Hulk out, don't you?
So, and it's funny because as soon as he said it, the people that were sitting around me, they just started laughing because they knew. So you tell me, if I'm just imagining this, or if a reasonable person would assume that what he's saying means that the local government or he or someone has some plan in the future to enact income tax increases on the people in the community.
Okay.
All right? That is your job. And you be honest about this. If you say, Rob, you're totally out of bounds on this, I will gladly accept that criticism.
Okay.
But this is very important because we have another segment to play, and it depends on how you rule. You're the parliamentarian here in the big bullcrap bill.
Oh, great. So I'm an unelected bureaucrat?
That's right. And you're the voice of reason.
Okay.
Kev, go.
Property tax legislation and discussion this past year, July 1st, goes into effect. We had not much change, not much good change, I think, from a homeowner's perspective. But I think it's, in my opinion, started the dialogue of how we should proceed with property taxes in general, especially folks with fixed incomes and things like that. So one of the alternatives is, in my opinion, is to lean more on the income tax side of things and not on the property tax side of things, because the income tax, people that pay taxable wages will be paying into that pot, right? So you have a larger pool. So this development, if you think of it like that, is two-pronged. If you do, in fact, Jonathan, have $650,000 homes to $850,000 homes, and you have a 1% cap on that, that's a pretty substantial property tax revenue for the town. Okay, this is what we asked for, is these higher-end homes, and if you look at it on the income side, the majority of those people that live in those homes are going to be high earners. So if we do shift over time to more of an income tax-based approach, we would be sitting fine if we hedge that bet.
Oh, okay. So what's the question?
So the question
Pretty
is,
obvious.
Would a reasonable person with any remote level of intelligence have heard that and said, that guy, knowing the changes they just made in the bill that he referenced, would assume that they are coming for an income tax increase?
Yes. Clearly, I think an unreasonable person would agree with that. He said they're going to lean more on income tax increases.
Okay, so you know how I get, and that's how I got. And I had to sit there then for about another 20 minutes.
Okay.
With I don't know what goes on in the bull's mind when he sees the guy wave the thing,
the red flag,
and yells "Olay!" But that's what I had to sit there because they got police officers in there and everything else, and I was not going to go to the town lockup or whatever, and I had to sit there and stew on this because, by the way, this guy's trying to put this stupid development in, and then on top of that, you're agreeing with me that any reasonable or unreasonable, in your words, person would think he's talking about raising the income tax.
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
He said he's talking about people in the, what did Braun call them? The mega house?
Jumbo homes.
Jumbo homes.
The jumbo homes.
$650,000, $800,000 homes. He says, they're doing well for themselves. We can get more of their money.
Okay. So then at the end, I went back up there, as I am allowed to do, and I had some choice words, and then I want you, so I've narrowed down my choice words for brevity. Not that I'm ashamed of them. You public can see it. These meetings are posted publicly. But for brevity, I have narrowed this down, and then I want you to hear his response to me, and you tell me if this is not the textbook definition of gaslighting based on what you have agreed with me that I heard at that meeting. Are you ready? Kevin, go.
But that income tax that you guys are talking about raising, that's a massive deal to a lot of people. The premise of the property tax bill, as bad and as screwy as it may be, is not so you guys can just take money from somewhere else. The premise of the property tax bill is people are being bled dry.
We didn't pass the property tax bill.
He mentioned it.
But we have no bearing on
He mentioned about raising income tax, Travis. This is my 3 minutes.
Can you...
I'll pause this time really quick.
Yeah.
Rob, I appreciate your input. I did not mention anything about raising anybody's income taxes, but it was my opinion. As you go back to the record, I said this is my opinion. In the outlying years, you and I both know that is the direction that the state level that they're going to go, and we don't want that. We don't, but we also want the property tax solution to be fair and equitable to all people, including fixed income folks. I didn't say we're going to increase income tax, but that is the direction that I see personally that it's going.
It's only the direction if you make it go that direction. You're in charge. If you guys don't raise the local income tax, it doesn't go up.
Rob, you're exactly right, and we haven't even been broached with that subject yet, ever, at all.
So there is no plan right now by the town of Brownsburg Council to raise income taxes.
No.
Correct.
No.
None.
Okay, so first of all, on all 50,000 of our listeners, I'm noting this day because I can almost guarantee you within 1 year from now there will be a plan to raise income taxes.
He did just say there is no plan. I feel like I want to hear the first part again, just so I'm crystal clear.
Oh, of his original statement.
Yeah,
because that is. You're like, I'm sitting here going,
because I took
why
notes.
did you say it?
I took notes and I wrote down lean more into income tax increase.
Kev, can you play the original clip, the first part of it? Did you see what I deal with?
Yes.
And I'm supposed to hold all of these people accountable, Casey. I'm supposed to hold every one of them accountable.
Because he even was mentioning the bigger homes and how those people are doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because he mentioned their income.
Kevin, please.
Property tax legislation and discussion this past year, July 1st goes into effect. We had not much change, not much good change, I think, from a homeowner's perspective. But I think it's, in my opinion, started the dialogue of how we should proceed with property taxes in general, especially folks with fixed incomes and things like that. So one of the alternatives is, in my opinion, is to lean more on the income tax side of things and
That's
not on the
it right
property.
there.
Pause.
One of the alternatives is to lean more into income tax.
And what blows a hole in the whole thing is the state income tax right now, the state income tax has no benefit to local governments whatsoever. It's the local income tax, which is what they gave. There's no talk in the state government about raising income tax. Zero. In fact, well, of course, the government has to grow by a certain amount, but they even lowered it by a peck of a percent. They did the bare minimum pot. They did the bare minimum of the bare minimum, but there's no talk about that. The only people who are having the conversation about local income tax right now are the local governments who just got the ability to do the massive local income tax increases. So as usual, it takes me blowing a gasket in a public meeting to get people on the record as saying a year from now, I'm going to come back and point this out and play this audio, and it won't matter because they just do whatever they want to do anyway. But the governor and lieutenant governor said, well, it's my job to hold everyone accountable.
Are you okay? Because
no, I'm not okay.
I feel like we might need to go to some therapy or something because you were completely gaslit right there.
I was. Thank you, Kevin. Was I not? Did you hear the same thing?
Yeah, I heard it.
Thank you.
Okay, so to get over this, you're supposed to trust your reality, write things down, document evidence, use your gut check moments. You're supposed to recognize and name it when you've been gaslit, and also set some boundaries so that it doesn't happen again. You're also supposed to get some outside validation. Go to some trusted friends or family members and ask, does this sound normal to you? and then afterwards, Rob, you're supposed to prioritize some self-care and mental clarity. Consider the long game, okay?
Thank you for placating me on this and going
just
to this
exercise.
exercise.
This isn't your fault,
Thank
Rob.
you.
This is not your fault.
Thank you. I'm just so glad that the voice of common sense was like, yes, you heard exactly the same thing that I did. You said people both reasonable and unreasonable would respond that way. And
I'm so sorry you had to experience that.
I have to go to a break.
We do. And what's everybody doing this weekend? We're going to talk about that coming up from 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, more on the dysfunction in the Hogsett administration, and it's Beer Sample Friday, 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
You were blessed to have a home large enough to raise a family. But now the kids have been on their own for a while, and the house seems a little different. All those rooms are a bit too much to manage. Simple just seems better. Simple Quarters is a company that understands, and they can help you trade in your house for one that's a better fit for this point in your life. A lot of folks don't realize you can trade in your house like you can trade in your car. Simple Quarters will buy your house and help you transition into a new one all at the same time. No double mortgages or months of showing and stress. They streamline the process. Or they'll simply buy your house as is, and you can take the next steps on your own. Simple Quarters is a Christian company committed to making your real estate transitions easier. If you're considering downsizing, Simple Quarters offers both as-is home purchases and a convenient home trade-in option. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market, just 20 minutes north of Carmel. We're proud to bring you the freshest produce farmed right here in Indiana and across the Midwest. And don't miss our home-style fried chicken, scratch-made bakery, and a deli packed with ready-to-go favorites. Got a sweet tooth? Check out a variety of old-fashioned candies, the kind that brings back sweet memories from your childhood. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about local freshness, friendly faces, and food that feels like home. Wilson Farm Market. That's Wilson Farm Market.
Trump country is booming. We're building, hiring, and winning in Indiana because energy tax credits put America first, bringing manufacturing jobs home and creating a stronger middle class.
Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country. More production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers.
And America's comeback depends on American energy. Senator Young, keep what works. Don't repeal energy tax credits. Paid for by Built for America.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The WIBC mashup is everything you love, from fiery debates to laugh-out-loud takes, all in one podcast. No weak sauce, just the best of the day each weekday. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts.
I totally forgot to tell you about the best part of the whole thing.
Of the meeting in Brownsburg last night?
In fact, it was the only good part of the whole thing.
Right.
So yesterday,
yeah.
So we missed the last segment. We were talking about how I got gaslit, right?
Mhm.
About some guy saying they're going to explore raising the income tax, and it was like, nobody said that. Okay.
Yeah.
But yesterday, Casey and I had a fabulous segment, which will probably win us the Marconi, on the Indiana Fever having now an official tampon as their sponsor.
Correct. Sequel.
And we were trying to figure out what would be the male equivalent for the Pacers, and like for just show purposes, we said, what if Trojan Condom was the official sponsor of the Pacers? And last night, this is the impact our show has on society. Somebody brought me, shows up to the meeting, guy I sit with in the back a lot of times. He's a local real estate guy. He shows up and he goes, hey, I got something for you. So what's that? And he pulls a condom out of his pocket.
Oh, no.
And I looked at him. And by the way, like, there's a group of us having a conversation. And the guy next to us just starts laughing, goes, oh, yeah, that was great. and then I looked at him and I said, I said, Anthony, don't take this the wrong way, but I said, one, I'm not accepting a condom from you.
Good.
And I'm certainly not accepting it in a public
Right.
building
Ew.
or an official act of government.
Please, Rob, please tell me it was still in the package.
It was still in the package.
Okay.
But then the best part was that it becomes this group conversation about how funny that segment was. And all of these people that were already in this group conversation were listening to the show and heard it. And
tiptoeing around that topic, weren't we?
They said their favorite part was when you were trying to explain how the string worked. And how uncomfortable you were.
I was.
Trying to explain how the string worked.
I was.
Anyway, so that's a little bit of good news. We want to bring a little bit of good news into people's lives.
Oh, you never know what you're going to get at those meetings, do you? Gaslit and a condom.
I said that is both brilliant and weird, and I love both of it.
All right, let's go down memory lane. This happened 1 year ago today.
What's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
A year ago today, Biden said he had fixed the border.
So this was the debate.
Mm-hmm.
This was the end of Biden.
Correct.
1 year ago today.
1 year ago today.
Boy, howdy, sure, time does fly, doesn't it?
And everybody knew after that he was done.
Isn't it interesting, though, how up until that moment, they kept the facade up that he was capable of running his own life, much less the country.
Yeah. And then after that debate, they couldn't cover anymore.
Yeah.
It was crystal clear to everybody.
Well, that's been a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at Tony Samuel's house, if you remember.
Oh, that's right.
So we watched it in his 9,000 square foot or a square foot television that adorns his 10 million square foot basement because he's done very well. We need more rich friends. But isn't that crazy that it took, in hindsight, that it took that for the Democrats to finally be like, ooh, there's something wrong here.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Okay. It's going to be really hard to put some lipstick on this pig.
1 year, huh?
Uh-huh.
And look at us.
Yeah.
We just keep doing better.
Right. And getting gifts at meetings and stickers,
What are we
too.
doing next? What are we doing?
You want to talk about Donald Trump? We can do that.
Perfect. And there's some updates on some of these Supreme Court cases. It's the last day. A lot of big rulings coming down. We'll get to those.
It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call Trajan today at 317-480-4040. 317-480-4040.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
If your air conditioner is barely hanging on, don't wait for it to fail in a heat wave. Upgrade now with a new energy-efficient system from B&W. Join thousands of Hoosiers who trust us to keep their families cool and comfortable. Get a free estimate today at bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Retirement planning can be confusing. That's why Expedition Retirement now has a new name. Join us for Fire Your Financial Advisor, Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to B.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, what led to a 12-year-old dying in Cumberland early this morning, the charges a 16-year-old is facing for a multi-injury shooting in downtown. We're getting more back and forth from the Indianapolis City County Council and how a fallen state trooper is being remembered. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. Supreme Court limits federal judges' power over presidents. I'm Chris Foster. President Trump calls it a big win and holds a press conference at the White House in about a half hour. The court, in a 6-3 opinion, says lower court judges went too far with nationwide injunctions blocking President Trump's order ending birthright citizenship. There's nothing in the ruling about the legality of birthright citizenship itself, but it allows the order to go into effect in some parts of the country in 30 days, allowing time for other challenges.
It's written by Justice Barrett, and essentially what she says some say that the universal injunctions give the judiciary a powerful tool to check the executive branch, but she says federal courts do not exercise general oversight of the executive branch. They resolve cases and controversies consistent with the authority Congress has given to them. When a court concludes the executive branch has acted unlawfully, the answer is not for the court to exceed its power. They are limiting these injunctions.
Fox Chief Legal Correspondent Shannon Bream. Members of the House get a classified briefing this morning on Iran and U.S. airstrikes on nuclear facilities there as Iran's supreme leader considers his path going forward. Fox's Steve Harrigan in Qatar.
Well, there's been a lot of discussion about battle damage assessments. Now there's increasing look at the political damage that the supreme leader of Iran may have suffered. After 10 days in a bunker, he emerged looking haggard and every bit of his 86 years. It's not clear how the nation will react to being humiliated on the battlefield. The Ayatollah launched 14 missiles at a U.S. base here and claimed victory, but it's not clear that's going to be enough to satisfy his critics, both within office and also on the streets of Iran. There have been 4 popular uprisings in the past 15 years. So far, the regime has been strong enough to put them down. In Qatar, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Canadian diplomats are demanding information about the death of a Canadian citizen in immigration custody. John Noviello was 49 in the U.S. since childhood, being processed for deportation because of a drug charge conviction. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A 12-year-old, the fatality in a shooting. Sunny and 86 in the Circle City. Feels like 95. The high today will be 92. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Police in Cumberland say a 12-year-old boy died after getting a hold of a firearm in a home early this morning. He was taken to an Indianapolis hospital where he died. Witnesses told investigators that the shooting was accidental. There's now an investigation ongoing. A teenager is looking at adult charges for a shooting earlier this month on Monument Circle. NDFOP President Rick Snyder says this is another case of young people having guns in the city and doing harm.
This is an allegation of a 16-year-old, and what our officers can tell you is when they interact or come up on a traffic stop or a stop on the street involving juveniles, multiple juveniles in the group are armed with firearms.
The 16-year-old has had a run-in with the law before with a previous weapons possession charge. An Indianapolis Democrat says sorry to her caucus. Ryan Hedrick reports on Councilor Krista Carlino.
Carlino was in charge of the committee that was tasked with looking into sexual harassment claims within the mayor's office, but after she hinted that some of her colleagues may have influenced the law firm handling the review, the council voted to kick her out of the Democratic caucus.
I was not in the room when any votes were taken.
Carlino told IndyPolitics.org that she was forced to apologize.
I would be expelled pending the receipt of a public apology.
She said she issued the apology, but she still thinks that Mayor Joe Hogsett should resign. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A section of US 31 in Johnson County being permanently designated the Trooper Aaron Smith Memorial Highway, a tribute to the Indiana State Police trooper who was tragically killed in the line of duty last year. Trooper Smith grew up in Johnson County. He lost his life after being fatally struck by a vehicle during a high-speed pursuit on the southwest side of Indianapolis. His name is Cam Jones. He's from Marquette, and he's coming to the Indiana Pacers.
I'm excited to get to know those guys out there, man, build those relationships, build those friendships, and, we're going there next.
Jones, the 38th pick in the NBA draft. He was selected by the San Antonio Spurs, but their pick was traded to the Pacers on Wednesday. Indiana also picking Talon Peter out of Liberty in the second round. No win streak started for the Fever as they fall to the LA Sparks at home last night, 85-75. They're already on the road for tonight's game in Dallas against the Wings. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Do you have an idea for a book, fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
This document that the Indie Reporter account just posted is unbelievable if true, and everyone should be outraged. If indeed it is as it looks.
He said, are we reading this right? The Colts received $975,000 from the IEDC.
This is an unbelievable Indie Reporter. Like, we have Steven on every Friday all week long. It's probably the best follow right now you can make if you're into Indiana politics and government at Indie_Reporter_. And this is what they do. They just dig into documents. There's several of them, and that's what they do all day. He posted this document from 2019 that appears to be between the Indiana Economic Development Corporation and the Indianapolis Colts, in which the Indiana Economic Development Corporation agreed to pay $975,000 over a 3-year span, 2020, 21, 22, in the amounts of $375,000, $375,000, and $275,000 for something marked sponsorship.
Yeah.
Now, my question on this is, the taxpayers have already done enough for the Indianapolis Colts based on the fact that they're fronting almost the entire majority, all of the billion plus when you factor in interest it costs to build Lucas Oil Stadium. So if we want to advertise the state of Indiana, if we want to put a giant state logo or come here on the center of the field, then we should be able to do whatever we damn well please. The idea that after all this money the taxpayers have given the Colts, we got to pay for some sort of sponsorship. Oh, and the fact that these people who ran, used to be in the past, ran the IEDC, but that would be a good use of $975,000 is to make the Colts and the Ursays even richer than they were before.
Now listen to this. It gets even better. Contractor being the Colts, shall allow IEDC to use suite number F27A in the stadium for each home game in the 24 covered NFL season.
Wait, for what year?
24.
2024.
Yeah.
So as part of the sponsorship, they get
seats.
Did you get invited to sit in the IEDC suite?
No, I did not.
Kev, did you get any sort of announcement as a taxpayer? Thanks for all you did. We'd like you to come sit in the IEDC suite.
I don't think so, unless it slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, I want to check your spam folder.
Yeah.
I wonder who got to sit in the suite case. Wonder who got the good times.
As part of IEDC's use of the suite, contractor shall provide to IEDC a minimum of 21 suite tickets, 4 guest passes, 6 standing room only tickets, and 5 parking passes, and catering. Wow. That's a good time.
So now is like this, sponsorship. So does this mean, it's so hard to figure this stuff out. Whitmer's still there. Whitmer, do you know what this was for? He's in the YouTube chat. Do you know was it just for the tickets? Like, was this like a freebie? What possible reason would there be for the IEDC, which is a largely taxpayer-funded entity, to give one dime to the Colts, who are already playing for free in a stadium
funded by the taxpayers? Okay, so they're obviously purchasing these suite tickets.
Now, he's saying it's two different contracts.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. Like, why are they buying anything?
So that they can take potential business owners to a Colts game and say, this is why you should move your business here to Indiana.
Wait. I thought we were state that worked, Casey. I thought we were
guessing.
Level up. But now we've got to take taxpayer money so the bigwigs can take other bigwigs to a Colts game so that poor and middle class people can give those bigwigs more of our money.
Yeah. They can go have a good time, convince them to move their business here.
This is your Indiana Economic Development Corporation. No money to help you with property taxes. No money to offset the increase in the gas tax. No money so that we don't have to toll all the roads. But there's plenty of money to be buying suites and sponsorships.
Yes.
For the Colts games. And we're led to believe that the new merry band of misfits that Braun put out there, what they're going to be.
They're going to say no, thank you.
They're going to be better
to the game.
How did I not? How did you get on the list to get the tickets? Was there a sign up somewhere? I mean, I pay for Lucas Oil Stadium. You pay for Lucas Oil Stadium. We're upstanding members of the citizenry.
Should be a statewide drawing.
Well, you and me, we're paying our taxes. We're going to work each day. Neither one of us that I'm aware of has been convicted of any sort of felonious activity
that you're aware of.
I think we can. Throw Kev in there too.
That's debatable.
There's no reason this should be taking place. There's no reason poor and middle class people should be paying their hard-earned tax money so that mega corporations can have freebies. There's no reason we should be paying that money so that they can have suites at the Colts game.
You're paying for somebody to be wined and dined.
It's either the state works, as the slogan said, or it doesn't. So what we're led to believe, pick your favorite megacorp, Zuckerberg, Facebook, Meta, whatever we call it these days. He's going to be on the fence, but it was the ticket to see the 8 and 9 Colts that sealed the deal for him. I'm a huge Jonathan Taylor fan. If I could just see him play in the suite in person, I might put Facebook in Indiana. That's what we're led to believe? No, of course not. You could do these meetings if it's about the companies, if it's about the economic incentives or the attractiveness of Indiana. You can do that by Zoom. You can do that by phone. This is, once again, piggies eating from the trough, making themselves fatter with your money.
That's right.
And now, of course, it's come out that the new board has given Mike Braun a combined $260,000 in donations.
Yes.
So I'm sure they'll be all over rectifying the current status and condition of the IEDC.
Donald Trump was hosting a rally to get Republicans to get behind his big, beautiful bill. He did that. He claimed the bill would cut $1.7 trillion without affecting Medicaid. He said it's also going to strengthen.
Wait, say that again?
Trump claims a bill would cut $1.7 trillion without affecting Medicaid.
But every independent... Okay, so first of all, let's update everybody. A bunch of this stuff that was supposed to be the savings has been thrown out. The parliamentarian has thrown huge portions of the big bullcrap bill out. It is now... I'm going to guess they've not done a recalculated analysis of what the damage will be, because this has just come down over the last couple days. I'm guessing it's probably gone. It was 4 in the House. It's probably at 6 to 7 trillion. There really are no meaningful savings left in this. And all of these Medicaid things, making the fatties get up and go to work, all of these things that should be basic tenets of our society, which is if you can walk and you can lift things, you shouldn't be leeching off of other people. You should be putting in the bare minimum of effort. You shouldn't get free health care, and you should have to pay your own freight and pay your own way like everybody else.
He was urging that people call their senators and representatives to support the bill.
If your senator votes for this in its current form, they hate you.
Okay, well, here's what Jim Banks thinks about the big, beautiful bill.
Hey, everybody, just a quick update. We are so close to passing President Trump's big, beautiful bill here in the...
Pause. They're not close at all. What is he talking about? There's multiple warring factions on this. What does he mean? They're so close.
He put this out yesterday at 4 o'clock.
There's at least 7 or 8 of these people who have, as of right now, said we are out on this bill. What does he mean they're close to passing
They're
it?
close to it.
U.S. Senate. We are not going to let the Senate parliamentarian or Democrats or even squishy Republicans stand in our way from passing the biggest tax cut on working...
The Senate parliamentarian is a mutually agreed on person, which, by the way, if they didn't like her, they could hire her or fire her. The party in charge can do that.
It's like the referee, right?
Correct. It's the umpire, who everybody agrees on. This is a nonpartisan person who... The last one was hired under Reid. She's been there 13 years. So Republicans have had infinite chances in the past 13 years to fire this woman if she's that bad. And by the way, they rely on her all the time, too. They got a bunch of stuff thrown out in the green dream stuff. So if they didn't like her or thought she was unreasonable or whatever else, this is why I cannot stand this guy.
Well, now because she's not siding with what they want, now she's bad.
You guys, see, this is why I cannot stand Jim Banks, the big, fat, phony fraud stuff. The Republicans have agreed this is a reasonable person for years. They've had numerous chances to get rid of her if they don't like her. She's doing the same thing that she did to the Democrats when the Republicans were in the minority, and they tried to do stuff through reconciliation. But all of a sudden, oh, now she's the problem. No, you guys have set up the rules. You guys have said this is how the game is played, and you guys have agreed that in order to get something through without the 60 votes, these are the things and the standards that have to apply. But instead of just owning it and saying this thing is a monstrosity, and we're trying to pull bull crap on the American people, and we're trying to add trillions of dollars to our nation's debt, and we're trying to pass things that wouldn't pass on their own, we're trying to jam them all together and daring people to vote against them because Jim Banks has his head so far between Donald Trump's butt cheeks, he says crap like that.
I don't think we need to go any further with Jim Banks.
Thank you.
Do we? We can be done with him.
Thank you.
That audio.
Well, you knew.
He had more to say, but we don't need to keep rolling with it. It's Friday.
When you did that.
I know. Yeah, I feel bad for you. You were already gaslit last night. Your co-host here is making you listen to Jim Banks.
Don't I have the right to be outraged?
We got to turn it around for you, Rob Kendall.
Don't I have to? I mean, that's just ridiculous, Casey. That's utterly ridiculous. Everybody agrees to the rules of the game. If you don't like the person that's umpiring, you've had 13 years to do something about it.
No, now they want to change it. Trump also announced that he had signed a trade deal with China, although he did not offer a lot of specific details about that. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
you understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
When you work,
as long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
When you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
Traffic when you need it.
Stopped on 465 again. And
updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. We are cleaning out inventory. Save up to 50% off Lazy Boy, Smith Brothers, and Flex Steel. And if it's in stock, save up to an extra 25% off. Save up to 20% off Berlin Gardens and Pollywood Outdoor Furniture. And save up to 50% off floor sample mattresses, including Tempur-Pedic. First come, first serve. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Trust employee owned. B Windows extending our employee discount to you. Up to 55% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust your home to B.
Trump country is booming. We're building, hiring, and winning in Indiana because energy tax credits put America first, bringing manufacturing jobs home and creating a stronger middle class.
Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country. More production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers.
And America's comeback depends on American energy. Senator Young, keep what works. Don't repeal energy tax credits. Paid for by Built for America.
Okay, so we got to give an update on this Colts thing and the IEDC, and then I want to talk real quick about something that should enrage everybody if you have voted for Republicans or Donald Trump about what they defended at the Supreme Court and helped keep in check. All right, so yeah, it looks like there are two separate contracts that Indy Reporter has found. There's the one for $975,000 between the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, which is listed for sponsorship, and then the second one is the $450,000 for the tickets. Is that right? The suite?
21 suite tickets, 4 guest passes, 6 standing room only tickets, and 5 parking passes.
That's what a suite costs?
Well, I don't know if that's what it costs. That's
what they paid.
Right.
So you put those together, the two of them, it's public school math here, so I'm going to do this on my cellular telephone. 975, 450, $1.425 million? Are you kidding me?
So nice. Taxpayers are funding this vital service. But you may get $300 back on property tax.
They had $1.4 million to spend on the Colts? In addition to the billion plus we're going to spend on Lucas Oil Stadium?
Now, be honest, that was spread out over a few years.
Oh, it makes it so much better, Case. Yeah, they really did us a favor by that. Okay, so we got to talk about, because the Supreme Court, the rulings are coming in very quick. The last day, this is normal. They usually, the way the Supreme Court operates, the final week or two, it's a slow drip of sort of bigger cases they've heard, and then the last day, it's just a sort of 3 or 4 or 5 really big things that people have kind of been waiting on. The thing that's getting all the attention is the Supreme Court ruled that you cannot do nationwide injunctions as a district court judge.
Right.
Which is it is common sense that someone in California cannot dictate what happens in New Hampshire. And basically what they said, the state or the person bringing the lawsuit are the people who can be affected. The people who are being affected are the people who are affected by the ruling, which means if somebody's bringing a lawsuit in California, Southern California, it'll apply to them. And if somebody brings a lawsuit in Indiana, it'll apply to them. And you can't switch all that stuff over or across. But one of the things that got ruled on that people need to wake up on, because this is very concerning, that Donald Trump was willing to defend this, which is there was a lawsuit involving Obamacare, which the Republicans have promised to repeal for 15 years. For 15 years, the Republicans have promised to get rid of Obamacare. And there was a lawsuit that was brought under the Biden administration, which would have repealed parts of the requirements in Obamacare. And it was a private group that brought this lawsuit. I believe it was a Christian-based group, saying, a group of Christian employers saying that we don't think we should be bound based on various religious beliefs, et cetera, by these mandates that are in Obamacare.
Right.
Well, you would think that since Trump became the president and Trump's campaigned against Obamacare and all the Republicans have campaigned against Obamacare and repeal and replace and blah, 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 they defended this lawsuit, the Trump administration, in front of the Supreme Court, and it was upheld 6-3.
Okay.
So on one end, you have the Republicans, and lying is such a strong word, or manipulating or whatever, saying, oh, Obamacare's so bad. Oh, we got to get rid of Obamacare. Oh, it's doing all these harmful things, and it's made healthcare costs go up. But then when they have another opportunity to do something about it, the Trump administration stands behind a lawsuit that would have helped dismantle Obamacare. Because why? And everybody with an IQ of 7 or above at the time said, once the government gives away a benefit, a freebie that somebody else is paying for. In this case, it's future generations. They'll never take it away because it interferes with the legalized vote buying process. And in this case, because as part of most insurance plans, the preventative maintenance, the physical usually is what that means. Various other things, of course, associated with that as well, but that's the primary thing that would affect most people. Your yearly physical is your company will generally require you to do, which somebody's paying for that, by the way. It's not free. It's not like the industry just gives that away, right? They had an opportunity to strike this down, to join with these people, and because they're in the legalized vote buying business, which is all that big, beautiful bill is. It's a bunch of legalized vote buying. They're doing it again, where he's talking out of one side of his butt cheeks on one thing, saying one thing, and then his actions do another. Trump did this again. We had an opportunity, and he stayed with the Biden administration on this. So I think everybody needs to be aware that this happened. It's not going to get a ton of attention, certainly compared to the big ruling on the judges, because that relates to birthright citizenship. But that's a big deal, and everybody should be really pissed off that Donald Trump did that.
Another thing they did was they upheld the Universal Service Fund fee, which is added to your phone bill. They voted on that 6-3.
Which takes money from you and gives it to
schools and libraries and other areas.
That's right. Again, it's so I want to point that out because Trump has done this a lot. And look, he's phenomenal on the border, and he's done a very nice job with foreign policy. But his addiction to populism and legalized vote buying and finding ways that if it's something that he thinks will get you to like him more, no matter who it costs or how much it costs them, that is really concerning. And this has happened again.
We had a statewide elected official announce her re-election campaign. It began, and we'll talk about that coming up. It is 93 WIBC.
From marshmallow festivals to fireworks on the shore. No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. During Hubler's Freedom to Drive, shop any of our 13 locations and choose from Chevys, Fords, Toyotas, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and more. Over 2,000 vehicles. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report.
'Cause Hubler's got you covered.
No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles during our Freedom to Drive. Visit drivehubler.com or any of our 13 locations.
Cover me!
Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
He's coming. Here he goes.
Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless.
What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Plus, get free home delivery with most smart beds, limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A tragic shooting, likely accidental. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. A 12-year-old boy is dead in what witnesses say was an accidental shooting at a home in Cumberland early this morning. An investigation is ongoing. A 16-year-old is charged for a shooting on Monument Circle that injured 3 people.
But the important thing about this case is, as we understand it, the accused defendant in the matter was charged as an adult in part because they did have a documented prior crime involving a gun.
NDFOP President Rick Snyder reacting. A man wanted in Evansville on child molestation charges is located and arrested, and a missing girl is found with him in a hotel Thursday morning. The Indiana Pacers drafting Cam Jones out of Marquette and then Taylon Peters from Liberty in the second round of the NBA draft. And the Indiana Fever losers last night to the LA Sparks. They have a quick turnaround with a game in Dallas tonight against the Wings. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The Depot presents Freedom Fest at Depot Street Park in Greenfield this Saturday, featuring Smash Mouth.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go.
Enjoy the beer garden, food vendors, and Smash Mouth with special guests, that 90s band and Reveal. Free admission this Saturday, and bring your lawn chairs.
So don't delay, act now, supplies are running out.
The gates open at 2 p.m. at Depot Street Park in Greenfield.
You might as well be walking on the sun.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. You know, this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or first church home or something different, check out the place we call home, Life Church. Life Church makes it super simple for you. 4 campuses all across central Indiana, including Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. And they've also got great online services too. So if you want to check it out, don't want to leave your own home, you can do that as well. Learn more about everything on the web, lifechurchin.com. They're warm, they're welcoming. Life Church would love the opportunity this Sunday to meet you and your family.
Of course I love my parents, I really do, but often felt angry with them because I was always screaming so they could hear me on the telephone. All that has changed thanks to the CapTel phone from Relay, Indiana. We're so much better off because now my parents can read what I'm saying on the CapTel caption telephone. Our conversations are pleasant, because through voice recognition technology, my words appear to them on an easy-to-read screen right on the telephone. Thanks, Relay Indiana.
Learn more at relayindiana.com.
Hey, somebody called on Hogshead to resign. How about that?
Yeah, this is the Marion County Young Democrats.
It's not an elected person.
No.
'Cause, you know, heaven forbid that they grow a pair in the Ballular area and say what everybody thinks. But hey, at least the Young Democrats are calling on Joe Hogshead to resign.
They said the future of our party is watching. We refuse to inherit a culture of silence.
Okay. So
they do not like the Hogshead administration's handling of workplace harassment.
So we got
news reports.
Thus far, we got 2 Democrats, 1 Republican, and the Young Democrats have said that
Hogshead got to go.
Inappropriately messaging subordinates half your age, covering up horrific behavior from your number 2 guy, disappearing during the riots, clear issues with a bunch of things in your personal existence, the city being a complete dumpster fire. At least we've got 3 members of the council out of 25. It was 4. Now I guess we're back to 3. And the Young Democrats.
Right.
Where are the Young Republicans? Do they even exist? Is that even a thing?
In Marion County.
By the way, where is this? You remember like a couple months ago, there was this big Marion County GOP chairman election, and this woman, Natalie Goodwin, was that her name? She was going to be this real go-getter, and she was going to lead the party out of the doldrums and back to a path of prosperity. Can she speak?
They've been very quiet.
Is she alive? Is she capable of uttering words? Can she form complete sentences? Where is this woman at? Why is she not saying anything? Why will Republicans not call on Joe Hogshead to resign?
Yeah. Well, I think, didn't Michael Paul Hart tell us why?
Yes, there's a lot of money that Joe Hogshead controls, and they're not willing to give it up to defend horrific behavior.
Yeah. So the Indiana State Comptroller has announced her campaign to seek her first full term.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second because nobody knows or cares what the comptroller does. But we'll educate you for a moment, and then we'll talk about why this is a big deal. So the comptroller used to be called the state auditor. I think technically in the Constitution it is still referred to as the auditor, but for the purposes of public consumption, they now refer to it as comptroller. comptroller. And what that person does in the state of Indiana is they pay the bills. Their primary job is that they pay the bills for the state of Indiana. Weirdly enough, that's not the treasurer. That person has a separate job. They pay the bills. Now, why you need to know about this is the way this went down. And Elise Nishala may be a nice person. I've met with her, I think, one time in person. Actually, I've met with her twice. Back, as Bob Dylan once said, "'Twasn't another lifetime, one of toil and blood. Where blackness was a virtue, the road was full of mud." She was actually a Marlon Stutzman supporter, and I made phone calls at her house for Marlon Stutzman. So I've actually met her twice, I think, in person.
You've been at her house?
I've been at her house. I actually oversaw a group of people at her house.
I met her at the inaugural gala, the big brawn ball.
Oh, that's right. Well, I bet we don't get invited to the next one. What do you want to bet? Anyway, here's why this matters. And this is just the way our system operates now, and this is a crummy, scummy way, but a bunch of people are doing it. It's not just her. So Elise Nishala runs for state treasurer in 2022, and she loses. And she lost in large part because the people who were there to support her didn't stick around. They left. And Daniel Elliott won because on the second or third ballot or whatever it was, his people stayed and they got enough votes, and that's how a caucus works. And she was previously on the Boone County Council, which somebody really should ask her how she feels about the IEDC and LEAP, since she was on the Boone County Council, I think, when a lot of this stuff was coming into fruition. I don't know if she's for it, against it, don't know. That's certainly a very relevant question to have asked her.
Well, wasn't she instrumental in creating it?
I don't know that for sure. I'm not an expert on Boone County political history.
Okay.
So somebody should ask her about that. Don't know what way she comes down on that, but that is a very relevant question, given that she's paying the state's bills, et cetera. However, so she runs for treasurer and is closely, but told by the voters of that day, your services are not required. Then Tara Klutz, the same year, runs for state treasurer as the existing state treasurer. By the way, I think she got appointed state treasurer, or I'm sorry, Tara Klutz, state auditor. I'm sorry. Tara Klutz is state auditor. I think she got appointed state auditor when Suzanne Crouch ran for lieutenant governor. Right? Are we getting a trend here? And then Lieutenant Suzanne Crouch got appointed state auditor when Dwayne Sawyer and his 3 months that he was state auditor and decided that life wasn't for him. She got appointed. Dwayne Sawyer got appointed state auditor when Tom Barry used to, yes, is that his name? Tim Barry. Tom Barry used to work here. Tim Barry.
Different guy.
Very nice. Tom Barry's lovely. Tim Barry quit being state auditor to become, I think he became state party chairman. Are you following? Are you sensing a trend here?
There's a lot of appointments.
About how these people just keep getting appointed to this
Yes.
office. I think I have that timeline correct. Anyway, Tara Klutz runs for re-election, right? 22. Hey, I'm on board. 4 more years. I'm going to pay the state's bills better than anybody else. Give me your vote. Within a couple months of getting reelected, she quits.
Right.
Not because of illness, not because of she's incapable mentally of doing the job, not because of on the run from the law. She quits to take a private sector job, and she's pretty candid about it.
Yeah.
And so all of these people who voted for Tara Klutz, not a single person voted for Elise Nishala to be the state auditor, or comptroller now, as it's called. Yet she got to be the comptroller, appointed by Holcomb, by the way.
She was appointed by Holcomb in December of 23.
She was a fabulous Eric Holcomb supporter. I think she was even in some TV commercials with Eric Holcomb. So a person who not a single solitary human voted for to be the comptroller, now as we call it, those of us old timers, it'll always be the state auditor, but comptroller as we call it now, got to be the comptroller for the last 3.5 years. Raise all the money associated with that, build all the connections, build all the bridges, and make herself essentially undefeatable at a Republican convention. And of course, as long as you're the Republican nominee for any of this thing in the state, you get to be that thing henceforth and moving forward.
She describes herself as a proven conservative leader, fiscal policy expert, and successful entrepreneur. Her current term ends on January 1st of 27. So if she is chosen as the comptroller again, she will actually be elected this time rather than appointed.
Yeah, and she'd make it to 31 unless she quits as well.
Well,
like think about how and what happened with our state Secretary of State. How they tried to rig that, where Connie Lawson just magically quits in the middle of her term, and Holly Sullivan gets to be the Secretary of State. Like, and this happens all the time in these state Senate seats and state House seats that, hey, Fred's got a year to go, and magically he doesn't want to do it anymore. And
right.
we'll
So
put somebody else
appointed.
And then they get a year of fundraising and handing out favors and putting bills forward that help donors and lobbyists. The amount of people who get caucused or appointed in this state to positions of power without a single person other than the uber connected casting a vote for them, and then these people getting basically careers out of it. And like I said, we're picking on Elise Duchala because she's the person running for the re-election. It's not certainly just her. She's one person of many who have rose to positions of power without anybody casting a vote for them for the office that they now hold related to the public at large.
Now, you mentioned that she pays the bills. She does do a couple other things that are very important. Payroll for all the employees, state accounting and financial reporting. But she is also responsible for the distribution of tax revenue.
That's correct. You know, I spent close to a year in the state auditor's office. It was one of the longest years of my life. I served under 3 state auditors, and I did such a good job with that. They then convinced me to be the state pharmacy board director, and then that was the...
Were you appointed?
Yes, that was actually the longest year of my life. So the 2 longest years of my life were in the state of Indiana.
So Elise Duchala has also won an election. It's the less talked about election that I really think that she should put front and center on all of her campaign literature, and that is the best looking statewide elected official.
Yeah, her
From
and
the
Elliot.
Kendall Casey show.
We agreed that her and Ellie, because there are not very many good-looking people in the state house. Like I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying in terms
we
of
don't notice people's appearances.
we don't. But from what we noticed, we said we need better-looking elected officials, and we elected her and Daniel Elliott, the 2 best-looking elected officials. Now, was this just the statewide, or did we go into this? I think this was the state.
Do we include senators and reps in that?
See, I would have thought
we should have opened it
there
up.
were a couple guys that you would have found
reps.
visually appealing that I would have figured would have factored into your.
Well,
I can't even remember this now. We just do.
It is time to revote.
We do so many superficial things on this.
We should really revisit this. Well, you know what, Rob? We'll circle back, okay?
Drew, our buddy Drew, makes a good point in the YouTube chat. That's how we got Holcomb, too. Remember, Holcomb got appointed to be the GOP nominee. He was he got appointed to be lieutenant governor. Holcomb never won anything until he finally got to be the nominee for governor. And by the way, John Gregg, who's now on the IEDC board, was so bad that people were like, give us the guy who never won anything and ran a campaign for just a couple of months. We'll take him over John Gregg because we know what we're getting with him. And Braun was like, why wouldn't we put this guy in charge of hundreds of millions of dollars? Or, Braun put John Gregg on the board. So,
what do you have going on this weekend? Big plans?
I don't know.
Kevin, what about
Stay
you?
in my house, probably.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty low-key.
Okay, so most Americans choosing to chill at home on the weekends. There's new data saying this. You can read about it at WIBC.com. 40% of Americans are now just staying home on the weekend. Most don't go farther than 6.21 miles from their house on the weekend.
Yeah, you know me. I very rarely ever leave my house. I certainly rarely ever leave the greater Brownsburg area. I'm home. I pay for the house. Why wouldn't I want to spend all my time there?
The United States ranks 3rd among countries where people stay home the most on the weekends in the entire world. And you can mark this up to high costs, right? People cite inflation, gas prices, tighter budgets, making weekend plans harder to afford. So they're just saying, you know what? Couch, blanket, maybe a marathon streaming session, and calling it the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically free. I mean, the house is a cost, regardless of whether you're in it or not. You got this apps or the TV, whether you're using them or not. So, yeah. I mean, that's part of why I do that. Yes. The Indie Reporter people last month came out with a trust chart on our reps and senators.
Right.
They are proposing a hotness chart. I think Whitmer and those guys should get on a hotness chart that then we can share on this program.
Get on the hot, crazy matrix.
We don't, well, they're all we're on the crazy side. I mean, I think that we do need better looking people, right? I mean, we debated that earnestly, that we just don't have enough good looking people. Because if we're going to get swindled and conned and screwed, we might as well be doing people that make us feel good about it.
Right? At least do it in style.
These guys that look like Buddy Hackett taking all our money,
At least give me something. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, a big win for President Trump on birthright citizenship, but it's really about what the court does next. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at Neiman Harvest Market.
Neighbors you know are talking about Galaxy concrete coatings and their transformation, like Rosemary.
I heard about Galaxy through social media as well as on the radio. I wanted to have Galaxy come out and redo my back patio. It runs the full length of the back of the house.
Galaxy concrete coatings is not epoxy, it's 4 times stronger.
Galaxy was great. They were very thorough. They were very clean, very efficient. They cleaned up after themselves. I was very impressed with the crew.
Commercial or residential, Galaxy transforms pools, patios, garage floors, driveways, and more. And also, it comes with a lifetime warranty.
The reason I chose Galaxy is because of the durability. We've got pets, and so sometimes they do have accidents. It's very easy to just hose off. My neighbors have come over, and every single one of them have said it's beautiful.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. We are out of this world.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Breaking news updates, local headlines, and statewide coverage are always available at WIBC.com. When the news moves fast, we will too. Stay in the know while you're on the go with WIBC.com.
Casey, we always try to end the week on a positive note. I mean, there's so little positive going on in our government and politics. But
Right.
we want to end on a positive note. And I want to go back, if you'll just give me a moment, to something we touched on earlier in the program.
Sure.
How our show touches people in so many ways.
Yeah.
That a grown man, because of the segment we did yesterday on the official tampon of the Indiana fever, and we and the fact that we were Sequel, yes, thank you. For those of you who missed yesterday's program, the Fever now have an official tampon that will be available at the Fever game.
Right, brand new product.
And then we were trying to figure out what the male equivalent of that was, and the best we could do was like if Trojan Condom were a sponsor of the Pacers, and there were condoms
Passed out at the game.
Yeah, and I told you how I don't know, buddy's the right word, but a guy who goes to the council meetings, the Brownsburg council meetings, Anthony, he's a real estate guy in Brownsburg, and I get to the meeting last night, and he goes, "Here, I got this for you." And he tries to hand me a Trojan condom
in the package,
and it's in the government meeting. And I said, look, dude, one, I'm never accepting a Trojan condom from you, period. I'm certainly not doing it in a public government meeting, though that is hilarious that you did that. But it's like you reel that and you go, this is how our show touches people, right? We think it's all the politics and the government. That stuff is super important.
No.
But it's even the stuff like that, where it's like, that guy sat around all day and was like, that's hilarious. I know Rob will be at this meeting tonight. I'm bringing him a condom.
Right? That dude's like, wait a minute, I have one of those in my wallet. I just need to offer it to you. I'm so glad you did not accept.
Well, there's cameras everywhere.
Thank you. No.
And I'm not accepting a condom from another grown man. But two, certainly not in a government building.
Right. No. I'm not really sure if the condom is the equivalent to the tampon. I don't think there is a technical equivalent. But you really think that's the closest you can get?
Well, what do you have?
Versus dude wipes or something like that?
Well, people were also laughing, and this was funny, is then other people started coming up to us who are also listeners. So at the town council meeting before the meeting, this was the discussion in the audience, not the big development thing or anything else.
Right, not the millions of dollars that they want to spend.
Yeah, it was, some guy comes up and goes, yeah, and Casey trying to describe it was great when she was so uncomfortable talking about the string.
I was really uncomfortable, but I mean, whatever. What are you going to do? I'm okay with the Fever having that as a sponsorship. I was just uncomfortable describing it on the radio.
No, it's fine. But the point of all this is the reason we do so well, and this is what the people down the street don't get, is we are and we come off as real human beings.
Oh, that's because we are.
We connect with people.
This is not AI.
There is such a lack of connection from the people in government with the people they serve. Like, think about this Krista Carlino stuff, where you're a woman, you're standing up for other women,
right?
Seemingly, you tell hogs to kick rocks and get lost. Everybody says, "Wow, hey, welcome to the party. A little late, but at least you're here. Thanks for doing that." And then within a day, "Oh, I take it back."
Right. Well, she said she was not apologizing for the statement, but for how it was done so publicly.
That's not how normal people operate or talk, Casey.
What was the quote? I didn't apologize for calling for the mayor's resignation. I apologize for the process, not the substance.
That's not normal human. That's not normal humaning. Like, that's not normal human behavior. Says if someone has wronged you or wronged others around you, you call them out, you say what you think, and you don't apologize for it because of the process. Joe Oxon is a dirty, rotten dude who has run the city into the ground and has clearly lost total control of his personal life, and it has affected dramatically his ability to run the city and how he interacts with young women he has control over.
Yeah, I think it is really interesting how it seems like the Democrat Party in Indianapolis is just imploding. It's like they don't even know how to react to any of this.
But this comes back to, again, the normal behavior and connection with people. Diego Morales' behavior about this stupid check is not normal. Of course, any reasonable person, if you're trying to prove to someone I did something, if you're trying to be transparent.
Right.
Like, if our bosses ask us a question about something we're doing or something we've done, we don't just give them some half-assed response and hope they don't follow up. No, we give them the information. And Diego going, well, you can see the check. Okay, hey, man, I think, like in any business world, you'd want to see proof since you control businesses.
Right.
You'd want to see that the check was deposited and probably the receipts that match up with that. Nope, can't see that.
It's not
normal behavior. And these people just do not behave like normal human beings.
And it makes you say to yourself, what is he hiding? Why doesn't he want us to see it? Why can't you be transparent?
And so to the people down the street, you don't get it. Like, you don't get why. And I guess if just hanging on to the power, which clearly to most of them, that's what it is. And that's part of the problem. You can't punish these people other than take the job away from them because there is no semblance of, man, I'm really letting the people down. Man, I'm really not following through on the promises that I've made.
They don't care about the people.
Exactly. But
they're not thinking about the taxpayers, the constituents, the people they represent. They're thinking about themselves.
And so I guess, and maybe this is a horrible, rotten way, but we've joked about this before. The ratings every month are our ability to walk out outside of 40 Monument Circle, look at 200 West Washington, stick our middle fingers up at them, and say, no matter how much you hate us, the people love us. And I know that you hate that.
Wait a minute, Rob. I thought nobody listened.
Yeah, remember they used to do that, and then that has disappeared, right? I mean, you saw in our key demo, we are doubling the next radio station.
Yeah.
We're number one overall easily, but in the demo that we sort of judge ourselves by, we are doubling the next closest listenership. And it's the group of people that would be most apt to know what's going on with those guys down the street from us.
Yeah.
And what we do every day is because we are real people and we speak like real people and we talk about real things in the terms of the way that real people want to. And if any of these politicians, these people could elevate themselves like rocket fuel. They could shoot off like rocket fuel if they would just be normal.
Just be normal and human.
And none of them want to do it. None of them want to be bold. Even the ones who run and win on it. Even the ones who win because they said they were going to do it.
They turn heel and spin away.
It's a pro wrestling reference. It's very well done there. Turn heel and turn heel. Very good. All right.
2 points takedown.
So I just thought that was great that it's a wonderful example of how we touch people where this guy hears this segment and he goes, yeah, I'm going to bring a condom to the town council meeting.
Thank you.
And then there becomes a crowd of people talking about, yeah, it was great.
We don't mind gifts normally, but that one, now we'll pass.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening. Have a great weekend. And we will catch you back here on Monday. This has been Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Lately, the market has been making some big moves, and not all in the right direction. If you've been watching the numbers and wondering what it all means for your retirement, you're not alone. At Howard Bailey Financial, we plan for times like this. The truth is, a volatile day on Wall Street can feel a lot different when you're getting closer to retirement. That's why right now is the right time to take a fresh look at your portfolio, and Howard Bailey can help. Are you taking on more risk than you realize? Are you diversified in a way that makes sense for where you are in life? Find out today with the help of our free Market Volatility Guide. Visit retirewithpurpose.com to download your free guide and learn more about what market shifts may mean for you. That's retirewithpurpose.com. Together, let's make sure your plan is built